drink in the day. So, you know, it gets bad. So it's bad when you wake up the next day and you're like,
what happened? What happened?
Oh my God.
Let's go to the tape.
It's the worst. Like when you go back and edit one of these podcasts after you've done it, like a 3.5 hour one that you killed 12 packs and a bottle of whiskey in, you're like,
ow.
You're like listening to the end of it to figure out when to cut it, to put in the ads and shit like that. And you're like, God damn, I sound like a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? And it's just like this. It's so hard to go back and ever even consider
It's like, why do I even want to do this again? Like I lived it, not have to relive it again through recordings.
It makes me wonder why people fucking think it's cool. It's fucking embarrassing.
Well, I think part of it too is I know we're live, or what's the delay? I forgot what's the delay on here. Like a couple seconds.
It's like 5 seconds.
Oh wow, okay. But I think part of it too, one reason I think when podcasts kick off so much, especially with Rogan and stuff like that, it's just, like I said, it's having a conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation that people get to listen into. Those things like, oh, I should be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
For that conversation. It's literally what people get to do. So they're going to be in a conversation of people that they maybe will never meet, or someone that they've maybe met in passing. Mm-hmm. But then they're like, you get 15, like you meet somebody at a rally and you get 10, 15 minutes up with that person. And then boom, you're off again. And then people, like, they're like, well, they don't know the whole story, or they don't know like what that person's like, so they want to be that fly on the wall for. Yeah,
it makes it a lot easier for people to kind of get to actually hear someone talk about how they really feel about things.
Yes,
because standing at a booth at a rally across the a fucking fold out table or something like that, you're not going to get. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a real version of that guy, but you're not going to get that guy's opinions about stuff.
Yes, you're getting the rally version, or you're getting the show version of that guy. Compared to an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour podcast where they're literally like, we'll wait on the table. I mean, they kind of mute. We still mute stuff, but we still guard certain things. But at the same time, it's just like, put it on the table. Let's go. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah, that's the whole place. I mean, it's crazy to think that podcasts are still growing. They're still becoming more and more prevalent in more people's lives. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Especially the older generations are definitely getting deeper and deeper into the podcast game. As I've always felt like it was that 25 to 35 or 45-year-old crowd.
Oh no,
that was
it is. I mean, because we're probably messing up because I know you probably have an interest that we messed up or something like that, or we just even jumping into it.
No.
Okay, go. Hey, everyone out there. So let's go, guys.
Your name's on the fucking thing.
I guess you're right. Yeah. I forgot we do have a live chat. I forgot we're live. I usually don't do lives. This is like the couple other podcasts where I've been on that we don't. It's recorded and done put up later. But I forgot we have live. Hi guys. So ask your questions and we'll see if we can get them in there. I don't care. But like we're saying, the older generations, because they're driving or they're at home.
Yeah.
So they get a chance to finally sit down and listen, watch a live one or a recorded one. I think it's kind of like the podcast for the older generations, more like the book on tape, where it gives them a chance to broaden their horizon more.
Yeah.
Because it's not late night TV, which is definitely, we all know, dropping in ratings because of how they act and how they are. So yes, I mean, the podcast started with the younger generation because it's just a new avenue for us to get our voices out there. But the people that are listening are the older generation trying to tap into, well, what is my grandkids or what are my kids into nowadays? So they're listening to these new podcasts. So like us and some of our more guys that are our age doing these. So I think that's why we have that. But the algorithm of who's listening is definitely, like you said, 40s, 50s, 60s, which is crazy to think about, but that's just how it is right now.
Even so, like the 15 to 25-year-old range, which is not, I don't necessarily want that, or the 15 to 20-year-old range.
Yes.
I don't necessarily want that, right? Because I don't think that if someone's interested in bikes or something like that, I get it, but that demographic is so young that I don't know that they really could even sit down and listen long enough.
And I feel more of them are watching Twitch. And watching because I have 3 kids. I mean they're about to be 17. My oldest son's about to be 17. My middle son's 13, and my daughter's 11. So I know that they loved. I mean, heck, even before Twitch was even around, they would watch on YouTube somebody playing a video game. I always thought it was kind of weird, but then I started doing it. I'm like, it's a way for you to like still be part of like a game, because I used to be a big gamer, played Xbox all the freaking time.
Yeah.
But then I started getting to that point where it was like, well, now it's one of those, like, if I got an I don't even own a TV right now.
Yeah.
But if I got a TV and an Xbox, that's just, I already have, like, I'm not ADHD or, but I'm a perfectionist procrastinator.
Yeah.
So if I got one of those, I would definitely be like more on that. I mean, there's times I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna watch one more YouTube video. I don't know. I gotta edit photos, but I better watch one more. Because
I felt like so you saw my TV above my workstation outside, right? So it was YouTube and Rogan. I had been a great Rogan listening to him, but then I'm like working right here, and then you put him on YouTube. Fortunately, now with the Spotify, he's still on video.
Yeah.
But you put it up there, and even though I'm not staring at it or watching it, it's kind of like background noise until they're saying something. Just something. Doing, oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, because it's. I mean, when I edit, I have to. It's weird. I listen to EDM, or when I edit certain ways, I have to have certain types of music to edit that way, or I just can't edit. My brain was like, you can't do anything, dude. It's just it keeps you focused, and I'm just able to get into a tune. I'm able to get into a rhythm. There's times where I literally listen to nothing but oldies, where I'm listening to Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings Jr.'s. I'm with all the old guys, I listen to that stuff. But it's just it's the same thing. We don't. It's almost like a white noise machine when you sleep. It's just something to where one part of your brain is constantly grinding, editing photos or whatever you're working on. So you're hyper focused on that side, but your other side, your brain is allowing you to maintain a concentration, but also being able to be a little bit more fluid because you're relaxing the one side where the other side's grinding. So I feel you're using both sides of your brain, but it's a white noise machine. But you're still picking up things from that where it's not completely silent. And you're just like, wait a minute, where am I at? We're not in a library anymore. You're having fun doing stuff.
Well, I do the same thing. I listen to a lot of different music, but the last year and a half, I've been listening to lo-fi music, and I've been talking about it a lot on the podcast.
Lo-fi.
It's kind of like it's a version of hip hop. That's more melodies, almost like elevator music.
Oh, okay.
So it has an electronic kind of vibe, but it's much more, I don't know. It's soothing. It's like, I think it's like something they started doing for people that study. So exactly what you're talking about, of like just white noise in your head. And it just helps create a vibe. And so like when I am editing something in here, or I'm out there working on that, and I just need to focus on it and not like get too wrapped up in what's going on the TV, then I put shit like that on. And it becomes just, I don't know, just like you said, just something in the background. But, I think I met you. I don't know if we officially met, but I definitely met you and saw you the first time at Adam Sandoval's
Stubborn American Party.
Party.
Yes, like last October.
I had my son with me on that trip.
Yep.
And he went to it the year before, but all my other friends went too.
Yeah.
And so he was able to kind of like, go hang out with them and do shit. And I felt like that being like you and Dump Truck and, Shade Tree and Her Too, all these badass YouTubers and things like that. I wanted to meet everybody. So I was just like, I felt like so bad, like paying attention to what was going on with you guys and not
hang out with your son.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, us as family, us as having kids and having families, it's one of those things you have to be both sides. You have to kind of like figure out how to do that. And it does. I mean, there's times where we want to go out and do the adult stuff and run around, but you have to be with the kids sometimes. And I didn't. I mean, I was like, it was so cool hanging out with you and meeting with you. And he was. I mean, your son's so cool of a guy.
Yeah.
I wish we could have done a little bit more, like taking him out with more of the pit bikes and stuff and did some fun stuff like that. But I understand. I mean, it's just. it's.
My son's still on Spider-Man right now. He hasn't quite graduated to activities where he could fall and get hurt yet.
Yeah.
He's still like trying to see if he's got web shoes.
Well, we all want that though. I mean, hell, I want it sometime, man. Go web, go.
But no, I mean, so I think I found out about you then. I started following you and checking out your work, and yeah, man, like we were talking earlier about, like you were saying about diversifying your portfolio.
Yes.
And your portfolio is pretty diverse. So what you got out of the military?
Yeah.
And was the first step getting into this as a hobby?
Well, okay, here's the thing. It actually goes further back than that. Okay. My story actually starts 1989. My dad, we were farmers in Wisconsin. Grew up on a farm, a small little place.
Cheese?
Yeah, I do love cheese, all right? So back off. No, but who doesn't love cheese? Yeah. No, but like we had our farm was actually back in the 70s, 60s and 70s was huge. Like our family did like we had a specific type of corn we used to like sell off. We did Holsteins, cows, stuff. So back then in the 80s, things kind of started shrinking. Like we started having cattle in like the 84, 85. And then my grandfather had a big heart attack. So we stopped doing like farming completely almost. But then we still had our friends' stuff. We still worked the farm. Yeah. But we didn't travel a lot. We did little weekend trips every now and then. But part of it is we used to, I was 5 years old when we got our first bikes. Bugged my dad forever. Some of our friends had some old Honda 50, 60, 50, 90, and 70 trail bikes. And so I begged my dad forever to buy those things from one of our friends. And we finally did. All had bikes. Then my dad got a gold wing. We go out riding. So where we grew up in Wisconsin, up the road about an hour and a half, is a place called Elkhart Lake, Road America. So we used to go watch we were part of the AMA, American Motorcycles Association. We used to go up there and watch the AMA races. Yeah. So the superbike races. And then one year my dad got a 35 millimeter Minolta camera. Boom. Been on 8 years old. Basically buy all the film I want. He'd buy all the film I wanted. And then I had to pay for processing. So I learned the value of a click way back then. And so, yeah, I mean, small trips. And I was also in Boy Scouts. And at the time, I did South Dakota, Philmont, went to the National Boy Scout Jamboree in Virginia. I mean, all over the country, just traveling with Boy Scouts and then doing small trips. We used to go to one of my uncles. We used to work for Georgia Pacific in Wisconsin, but then he got transferred to Georgia. So we used to travel back and forth, family trips to Georgia every summer for like a week or two, stuff like that. So we were on the road. We didn't travel like a whole lot, but still we got to go to some pretty cool places. As I got older, but I was in the Civil War, so I've been like the Gettysburg and a lot of the stuff up and down the east, some of the eastern seaboard and stuff like that. Been not so much the west until I was a little bit older, but kind of. I mean, we did some pretty cool stuff. Were you using that film camera a lot on those type of trips? Yeah, just something. I mean, it was just family memories back then. It was just click, little things like that. So it was nothing professional. Just learning, just taking a photo, and then transferring from that to the military. I always had a camera. So I always had a camera with me. My parents actually sent me my first digital camera when I was in Afghanistan in 2002. So I had the little Sony Cyber Shots with the megabyte chips, and I still have it. The camera still works. I still use it. I think it was like 1.2 megapixels. But I was the only guy in my unit that had a digital camera in Afghanistan. So I took photos. MySpace was still going on. So I pushed photos out for our whole unit to everybody. And then things went along. Always had a camera.
When MySpace came out, I was scanning in my photos to get a profile picture.
Way back time, yeah. Your top 8. Who's your top 8? But flash forward to as I got more into it, I was getting ready to go to Korea, and my ex-wife got me a Nikon D3000. Was my very first DSLR, and then things changed, and then I got retired from the military in January 2013. So I sat around for a little bit, going, "What am I going to do?" And then my ex-wife was like, "Why don't you pick her camera back up and start doing more photography stuff?" I looked into it, and then Austin Community College in Austin, Texas, has one of the best, if not the best, associate degree programs in the country.
I heard about that
for photography. Yeah, 5 degrees, 3 certificates, and I literally went in there and got a degree in editorial and advertising photography. And just from being, it wasn't one of those things that like I needed to go to it, but adding tools to your tools box, learning. I mean, you're never going to do wrong with learning something.
Yeah.
Did I ever think, we started doing photos and stuff, and did I ever think that it was going to be like a full career? No, it was just something to get me out of the house. Being retired from the military, to get me out of the house, have fun, do something, just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And just took off with the weapons industry. I mean, in school they tell you got to find a niche. You got to find that thing that what's working for you. And I was like, well, I'm not a wedding photographer. I'm not a pet photographer. Don't really like doing families. So I was like, screw it. Let's do it. Because every time in class, I was already pushing the boundaries by bringing guns in and doing stuff in the sky. I swear, every project, I had teachers like, every project you do has got guns in it. I'm like, yeah, because it
must have been way before Austin turned super liberal.
No, still, that was why I did it because that was pissing. My biggest thing is I still do this stuff. It is pissing off the hippies or yuppies, pissing off yuppies. Yeah. I love doing that. So I just did all these gun photos. It's stuff with guns, and it's kind of going on. And then the weapons industry took hold, and just loves doing that. But then motorsports came along with Circuit of the Americas, photographing out there, and then it's just passions, things I love. And now since COVID,
I mean, I went to the very first MotoGP race there back in 13, right?
13, yes,
Yeah,
13.
13,
because my first race was 14. 14 was actually the first MotoGP race because that
I was met my wife. It was 13.
Was it 13? Okay,
Yeah.
That time for 13, 14 is also that's when I started at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, yeah.
And and it's just off that, and then COVID hit. And then everything kind of like slowed down, but then I got my Harley. I was already part of the now coming out of COVID, weapons injury kind of slowed down a little bit, and then I'm on the bike. I'm already around everybody, so that's kind of more diverted towards the bike stuff and more of that right now. As right now, but things are always changing. Things always happen.
Yeah. Actually, the guy that we met there when he shot that of me, he actually shoots a lot of weapon photography, but he does it to where he'll like suspend the weapons in the air.
Yep,
things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's a common thing to do in the weapons.
Yep, it's you have a C-stand with an arm or something to get an arm out, and you hang it by a fishing line. Just keep it straight, and then just so you do it like that, or you do it where you're laying it down and you shoot it from above, and it's just kind of get the shadows away. But it's just giving that effect. I mean, I've actually did it where I actually hung it straight up and down from the barrel, and I moved it like I did 3 different angles from it and put it all in one shot. It's just different ways you got to do it. I mean, it's the same thing like from. I mean, I've seen them suspend tires, just to make sure you're not getting any shadows and stuff.
Yeah, the whole behind the scenes culture is kind of one of those. BTS culture has been pretty insane to watch, and it's always fun to check it out. Sometimes when I do a helmet, like people don't realize how many lights I'll bring into it to try to eliminate as much glares and shit off the things as possible, and it's like. Sometimes I'm like, this isn't worth it.
No.
Go outside and take a picture of it real quick.
That, and then of course you have to make sure like the using flags, and I remember we did one where it was an entire white room. Well, we made a white room pretty much, and it got so whatever. I can't remember, we were shooting a bottle or something, and it was so reflective that we literally had to cut a hole in a piece of paper. And have it so far back where it wouldn't reflect off the whatever it was, and we had to shoot through the hole in the paper because it was so many lights and so much reflective surfaces. It was a complete white room, and then we had to shoot this little tiny hole with the camera way far back so we could get it, just so there was no reflection of seeing the lens in it. So
what was like? You talked about you had bikes growing up with them, but what was that driving force that made you want to get a bike again? Was it? I know being at the track, seeing them, but you jumped on a Harley first, or did you jump on something else?
Like I said, my very, very first bike was a Honda 50cc trail bike. Very first bike. 2 gears, no clutch. It didn't have a kickstart. The kickstart was busted. Yeah. Had to roll it down a hill and jam in that first gear and get the thing going. Yeah. Grew up on that. We had a one from as soon as I outgrew that, I went to a Honda 70 trail bike. We had Honda, the way the 90 trail bike. We had we got into a Honda 550. I had a Nighthawk 750, Goldwing 1200, a Goldwing 1500. We had one that actually got rebuilt, and it made it look like a Harley nice. With a gas tank. But it wasn't a Harley. It was great because you would ride on a Honda, and all of a sudden be like, "Is that a Harley?" Like, nope, it's a Honda. But I grew up an hour and a half away from Milwaukee, so I was in Harley heaven. Yeah. We never owned Harleys. We owned Hondas and stuff like that. Yeah. Started getting the crotch rockets. My last bike that I ever had was a 2001 Suzuki GSXR 600 team colors that I bought still in the shipping crate.
Nice.
It had, when I picked it up, we went out to the shed where it was at the dealership with the crowbar, opened up. The guy's like, "That's the one you want?" I said, "That's the one I want." Nice. So I knew that the shops were friends of ours, and they put it together. It's like, "Come back in a week, we'll have it ready for you." I came back in a week and it had 2 miles on it. Like it still had packing dust on it when I got it, because it was 2 miles because they set it up and rode around the block. So that was my bike. And that time too was also when everybody was doing stunts, the stunting on the crotch rockets, flattening the tanks, and so I learned.
What year was this?
This is 2000. 2000 and 2001. So like the Star Boys and all those big name
Patrick
guys.
Stevens.
Oh yeah. So
Uncle Buck, he passed away, right?
Oh Man, really?
Yeah, he passed away a couple
Man,
back.
I've been on that scene for a while, so I don't. So I learned how to do, wheelies on a tank and knack, the old wheelies and endos and knack-knacks and all the crazy stuff like that way back then. So it's the flash forward now to see guys doing that in Harley. Someone's like, that's actually possible now? It's kind of crazy to see. Had that bike when I was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Deployed to Iraq, 0304. Young, dumb private. Well, actually, I was more of a private. I was like a senior specialist. Been in there for a while and come back with $10,000 worth of new parts for my bike. Nice. Buying parts for my bike while I'm gone. Come back and no bike.
They got stolen?
Yeah, 29 bikes got stolen off of Fort Bragg while we were gone. You could actually see on the ground where they cut where they use a plasma torch to cut the kryptonite chain on my bike.
I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah. Then go flash forward to a mixture of. Well, when they found out the investigation, they found out about, I was like number 23, 24 on the list of getting investigations. And they got halfway through, they figured out that about a bunch more insurance fraud. So stopped the entire CID, criminal investigation department, stopped all the investigations. Nobody got anything. And then another reason why, no offense to anybody that uses Progressive, I will never use Progressive again because I stored my Jeep and my bike, but they actually canceled my insurance, still took the money. And then when it came to the time to do it, like, hey, I was paying for insurance, but like we never had insurance policy with us. I got nothing.
Wow.
So from 2003, 2004, life goes on. Never had a bike. Got married, had kids, and then finally I was like, I started like, I would like to have a bike again. Like, you got kids, you don't need a bike. But of course, we're living at Fort Hood, Texas.
Yeah.
And there's guys coming off from deployments buying brand new crotch rockets and swatting themselves all over the highway. So that's what she sees. And I've been riding a bike since I was 5.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. So never had it. And then flash forward 20, start getting back to the bike scene, hanging out with motorcycle missions and doing other things like that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need a bike. I was just like bike like crazy. Like it's just that itch. Like I gotta have my bike again.
What were you doing motorcycle missions? Were you just kind of helping with photography or helping work?
No, I actually went through the program. Like I actually did two builds. I was on build 4 and build 10. It was after build 4 where I really got the itch again. Mm-hmm. I just miss being on 2 wheels. It's the wind therapy. I missed that, and just got itching bad about it. And then finally, I was like looking for it. I had a friend of mine that was going to help me get one, and then Facebook Marketplace, my bike popped. The one I have now, my black line popped up. The guy was like, I'll take this, whatever, trade. And I was like, I got guns. You want to trade? How more Texan can this be, right?
Yeah.
So I literally traded guns for my bike.
Yeah, that's a fair trade across the board right there.
Especially here in Texas. I was like, hey, I got a bunch of guns I'm not using. You want to trade for Harley? The guy's like, let's do it.
Every time I put something up for sale, someone tries to trade me guns too. And I'm like, man, I want that. But what I'm trying to buy with this is not gun related.
Yeah.
You know
well, I mean, that's like I always say is if you're ever going to invest in anything, it's gold, silver, and guns.
True, I agree to that.
Because guns, especially now, they do not decrease in price. They only exponentially go up in price. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, so basically you were, being back around with motorcycle missions, and you were already also shooting a lot of the things that taking place at MotoGP on the track.
Yeah.
Was that really the only motorsports, or were you doing things for the whole track?
Well, it was, we did MotoGP, F1, the World Endurance Championships. So all the major races at COTA is what I was doing for all the major ones. And then it was just outside. I mean, I was always around car shows and stuff like that. I mean, I have friends of mine that have hypercars and supercars and stuff like that. So I'd be
There's that cool photo of you in the back of the fucking Lamborghini taking pictures. Yeah,
that was we're actually in Vegas for SHOT Show, and I mean you're where the Red Rock Canyon's right there, and then some of the guys got. We were doing some cross promotion with one of the exotic dealer rental places out there. And was like, hey, if you guys want to, so we're out there literally they gave us like, I think we had 2 or 3 cars, we had 3 cars. Or no, sorry, we had 2 cars, then we had a Porsche SUV. And we were just out there. And literally the only one I could really get any photos, like rolling shots, was the Lambo, because it was the only one that was convertible. Yeah. But me getting my giant frame into a Lambo backwards, that was kind of tricky. It was a little like weird to do. But it still got some cool shots. You do what you can.
Photo of you in there like that. It's like you're sitting backwards in the vehicle that probably should be in the lens, basically.
Yeah. Well, the thing is behind me is literally it was a Porsche SUV. I think we had a Hellcat. And then I think it was because we had Lambo, the Hellcat, And then I think we had the Porsche. I thought we had one more. I can't remember. There's so many times I've done hypercars. I've had friends that have Bugattis, and I've done. It's weird. When you start seeing, like, everybody, when you see a Lambo or a Ferrari, so like, oh, cool. And I look at them, I'm like, you got something different? Like, I've seen so many Lambos, I've seen so many Ferraris. They get a little mundane. I'm not trying to sound bad. It's still a cool car.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're taking photos of it, though, you'd probably get a like, if it's the way it came from the factory, it could get kind of boring.
Yes, it does. It does get mundane. It does get little, like, same thing. But it's one of those, like, if it's in a cool spot and there's a cool lighting, I'm going to take a photo with it.
Yeah.
But if it's just like just sitting in the parking lot next to 5 other Lambos, I'm not going to photograph that because it's the same thing. But if you get like a McLaren, if you have like a McLaren, Ferrari, Lambo, Bugatti, and then like, I don't know, an Audi or even an AMG or something like that, it's a cool road shot. But at the same time, it's like they're all the basics. I mean, the Bugatti isn't really a basic car, but it's still the basic cars. Yeah. Unless you got a McLaren F1, that's three different.
One of my good friends and also kind of a mentor with me as well in photography is John Jackson from Not Stock Photography. Okay. He does a lot of his lighting and the way he does things. Shooting cars and the way he's able to get no glares on it. Use a lot of light painting, things like that.
Yep.
He's fucking amazing. He's out there in Burnett, I believe. He lives out there. He just moved out there from Florida, but he does that style. He does a lot of cars, and I've always been scared to try it. You know what I mean? Because, my Jeep is not like a custom car.
I understand that.
Clean it and then like fucking take it up there.
But I also, but at the same part, why not? Because memory's cheap.
Yeah.
Memories. I mean, we're not doing film back. I mean, I do film now. I mean, I've
actually been looking into film too.
I carry a 35 millimeter with me now because I finally got the F3 that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I just F3. It's an F3 HP 35 millimeter Nikon camera, and I just have a standard 50 millimeter lens on it.
Yeah.
It's just something different that I'm out and I'm doing black and white film. I've either got 3200 night film or I've got 800 or 400. This is some type of film, but it's just because it's something different. It's more of an art form, going back to the old school style with the art form. And literally all it is, I'm just getting the shot, and I'm not trying to do anything fancy with it. Maybe a cool angle or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm getting it developed, but I'm having everything scanned so that I can bring it into Lightroom and process it later, but still keep the original rawness of 35 millimeter, which we all miss. I feel that we still miss that because
I do.
Us as photographers, that's what we created back then, was that rawness. And you're never going to have that same type of visual rawness, especially if you have a 4x5 or a full frame or a medium format camera. I mean, like they said, the pictures that Ansel Adams did way back in the day on 110 or 220 millimeter, you're never going to be able to copy that with a 35 millimeter. You're going to be able to get the same, or with a digital. You can get the same angles, possibly, but the rawness and the richness of an actual black and white film can never be replicated with that.
I've been going down a rabbit hole with film lately, kind of as a, not that I'm been bored with digital, but just kind of like, me and my buddies do trips every year, and like the photo behind you is when we went to some places, but we're doing Pacific Northwest, and I just felt like it would be dope to have like a film camera, like a point and shoot type situation, maybe something with a lens as well, or vice versa, but to get some of that just in the moment kind of shit, it's not so much posed.
Yeah, and that's literally the only reason why I even carry it with me is because it's just doing something different.
Yeah,
it's literally what it's just keeping that a fresh look. Like, I'm actually getting ready to start a whole nother Instagram page that I haven't done already. I mean, I have it out. I just haven't put anything on it yet. It's still kind of hidden because I just want another outlet, but for my art.
Yeah.
Because everything we do is still art because we're still producing and we're still making something for film, be it digitally or actual film. But I just wanted another outlet where that doesn't match up with my normal Instagram page, where I could have more 35 millimeter or just some whatever I'm doing that's not normally a gun stuff or a bike stuff or something like that. Just so I have another outlet. Because I mean, that's literally what we're doing as photographers. It's just an outlet for us. Just some people are as a hobby, and some people are getting paid more to do it. That's how I feel with it. So the core value of photography is always a hobby. Yeah, but it's not more. Well, it's a passion. I feel more of a passion than a hobby. That's just how I feel with it.
One of the photographer that used to shoot bikes for me for a magazine back in the day, when I was already doing a lot of road trips back and forth across country on bikes, he's the one that kind of said, like, you should get a camera and take it on the road because you take good photos with your phone. Just put a real camera behind it. And so that's what it was. But when you're riding bikes, like you just, when me and my buddies are crossing the desert all together and we're going to the next spot and you look over and the sun's going down over the mountains and your boy's right there, that, like, I feel like a photographer or a director in a film, like, God damn, that shot of my boy right there is sick. And I wanted to be able to capture that for my friends. Yeah. And
I'm completely the same way, but I've also been saying, like I've said a couple times before, not here, but other people I've talked with, is I'm also in the same mindset where I'd rather be in the moment of that than actually taking the photo.
Yeah. That's why I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel for about 5 years now. And every time I would do a road trip, and it'd be like, this would be the perfect shot right now. It's like, but I'm living it.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop.
And I feel that certain things, like, I haven't got a chance. I've driven across the desert. I've driven all the way to Las Vegas and stuff like that. And I literally just came back from Phoenix. So I drove Highway 9 across the entire border back from the southern part of Arizona all the way to El Paso. That was two lanes. We got that picture of me at the Continental Divide. There was nothing left, and there was nothing right on that road.
Is that 9? Is that like going from like Bisbee, Tucson?
Yes, Bisbee. From Bisbee all the way
to like just
to El Paso. Literally, if you follow that, it's 9, and it's the border all the way.
Nice.
And it was just a different way I wanted to go. It was the quickest route instead of having to go back to 10. And I like doing that, like hitting back roads. I grew up, with my grandfather. The same thing. We used to ride back roads when I was a little kid and when he was on oxygen in a station wagon, through Wisconsin. But I feel something like that. It's one of those things that, pictures are cool and you get to understand it, but it's one of those things that you have to live it. You have to actually do it at some point yourself to completely understand what it's actually like going up and down there. So, like, I can take pictures all day long and like, oh, that's a cool picture, but until you've actually physically seen it yourself, then you completely understand it. So, like, I haven't been to Monument Valley yet. It's on my list to go of places. Scheduling, things like that. It's
not on the way to anything.
I understand that. But it's one of those places that I have to go there because of watching Westerns with my grandfather and just seeing photos. Because I know the photo, it looks amazing. And you get to see it and live it.
Yeah.
But you're not actually seeing it until you see it with your raw own eyes. Because a photo will never be what your eyes physically see. Yeah,
I agree to that. I feel like Monument Valley for me is one of my go-tos that every time I go west, I try to hit it. And the photos that I've gotten or had taken of me there, I don't know. I enjoy it. It puts me back in that feeling of how I felt being there. Yeah, and that's one of those places that you feel something there.
And that's, I've said that before in other podcasts. That's what we make. I mean, as a photographer, you're creating a experience for somebody. But the same thing, unless you physically be there, I mean, everybody can look at Monument Valley and be like, oh, cool, that's Monument Valley. But until you've physically been there, they're like, oh, I remember seeing this over here. I remember seeing that over there. And then you point stuff out. But if you've never been there and you just see a photo, you're like, oh, that's Monument Valley. Move on. You move on. But when you've been there, then you start picking out the little things. Like, I want to go Monument Valley. The biggest one is Gump Hill, Forrest Gump Hill. That's I have got dreams.
So that's on the other side.
Yeah, other side of that photo. Yeah, I know. I know exactly where it's. I know where it's at. It's just I haven't been there yet.
There's some cool spots right there.
And there are spots, like I said, on the Highway 9 where I come over a ridge and be like, oh my God, this is almost like the same spot. But
I don't have them printed, but me and my buddies, since before that, on that trip, we've been hitting all the Forrest Gump spots in the movie.
I've had the same idea. I wanted it. There's a couple different movies that have been out there.
We went to Maine last year as our big trip, and we did the lighthouse. It was super tiny. But it was still badass to go. And
that's one of those things too. Like I have an idea for a book. It's going to be either or book. It's either a photo book or a photo diary book.
Yeah.
Of I want to build a bike. I have a couple ideas of how I want to build a bike, but my favorite type of bikes are the old school stuff. That's what I grew up watching. Look at the old choppers, the old Easy Rider, the Superman bike, stuff like that. A bobber or something. I want to build a cool ass bike and I want to ride because I grew up 2 hours away from Chicago. I grew up listening to my stories of Route 66 from my relatives and older, my grandmother and grandfather were from World War II and stuff like that. So I've heard about 66 all my life, and I want to ride from Chicago to LA and do 66 because I have the book. There's guys that as much as the original you can be on, and I've driven some of the original road. Going with Wisconsin and stuff like that. But I want to spend, because the whole thing like 2 weeks. Like if you really like slow down, but you do it in a couple days.
Yeah.
But if you follow the book, they say it's like a 2 week trip. I want to spend a month, just a straight month, where if I go 10 miles, I go 10 miles. Because my favorite thing is, I'm from the Midwest. I have the gift of gab. It's part of us.
Yeah.
It's from I don't know what it is in the Midwest, but we can talk to anybody. Some of you might hear my Midwestern accent. Some of you might hear my Southern Texas accent because I've been around both for the longest time. Like it gets mixed in there. Certain words, if I say water or radiator or Wisconsin alone.
What do you call a soda?
Soda.
It's soda.
It's a soda. It's not a pop. It's soda.
Where's pop at?
Pop south. Pop is south.
I've always said soda. That's why I feel like Texas is more Midwest than anything.
Well, because you got all the snowbirds. That's why.
Yeah.
There's certain areas of Texas we have too many snowbirds. But I want to spend a month on the Route 66 because it's they'll start the Mother Road, but just taking a bike and just riding that. I want to do a coast to coast one.
Yeah. Lincoln Highway is a good one to do.
Yeah.
That's San Francisco to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Go past that.
Personally, one crazy one that I've always thought about doing would be really cool to do is the Four Corners. Not four corners of the state, but starting like Maine, all the way to the Caribbean, all the way to the southern part of like San Diego, all the way up to the top of all four corners of the country, not the four corner states.
Yeah. But we're close to that with our group of friends. We're close.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing Pacific Northwest in a month and a half. We haven't done one of our buddies did the Keys, and Florida's just a hard sell.
Oh yeah,
right now.
it's just it's Florida. Yeah. I was there for Daytona. It's flat, it's straight, it's just boring.
Yeah.
It's like doing 35. It's like going up and down 35. It's just flat and boring, and then construction. That's all you get.
About your photo book though. So I've been on the same boat. And, I was telling you earlier where I've been kind of lost as to where to push photography is to be the new challenge. And the book thing came up to me as well through watching other YouTubers or photographers as well that kind of push that narrative. And, what I was wanting to do was, I guess yours was more focused in like building that bike and taking it down like a Route 66, things like that. Mine is more of like I get my life in doing this podcast and riding bikes and being a painter, whatever, all the different things. I find myself in these rad ass places with these cool people
extremely
all the time. And I'm like, it wouldn't be like a picture of me on my bike all the time, but like I wanted to do a photo book of like my year.
Yes.
Right. January to January or Sturgis to Sturgis. I like to use that as like the new year.
Yeah.
And, just the campouts, the parties, the rides, the fucking just all these different things. The camera comes out and just be more mindful. I get shy a lot with my camera.
I don't like. I'm same way. I'm a behind the camera type of guy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I get shy to pull my camera out
around
people.
Okay.
So I'm shy as like if I'm doing a shoot of my homie or his bike or whatever. Like I always feel weird bringing out a camera and getting someone's face, right? So I bought like a 70 to 200 just to kind of get away from
you do the whole way back type of thing too.
And but it's kind of, I don't know, it's just a weird thing I've been trying to get over where I'm more like, fuck it, man, like you're taking a picture of somebody, you're going to give them a badass photo of you, get in their fucking face. And
that's one thing that I've become a realization too, is like, I believe that as photographers, because there's a statistic that it's like a couple billion, probably trillion now, photos a year are just left on our phone, on our memory cards of all these images that are just left doing nothing. So I feel as photographers, period, we need to make. I feel this is more of like what I've over the years of me doing this. I feel that if you make one book out of your stuff, however you make a book, a coffee table book, a year of my life, or some type of book where it's just a collection of your images, whatever you do, it should be done.
Yeah.
Because like you learn is we don't, as photographers, you don't become famous until we're in the grave.
Yeah.
And even then, you never do, because of now with digital, there's so many more people, being photographers or doing stuff like that. But I feel it's to your duty as a photographer to make at least one type of remembrance of something, a coffee table book where you make one copy of it, where it's on your own coffee table.
Yeah.
At least you did something with it. And you're producing something, it's a memory. So it's not just something that you just. Well, I took all these photos for all my years. When you're 80, you don't remember what you did, or God forbid you lose a hard drive, or God forbid you lose something happens where you lose all your imagery, or maybe it digitally or raw or whatever, something like that. But one of my things, I have another guy friend of mine that he is on a mission that he prints at least something like monthly. And it's one of those things that I feel like that I need to start. I would like to start doing is get a good printer where I can take it on the road with me, or I can just have it at home. Mm-hmm. But I feel also with me being able to do these photo shoots now for magazines and for just random people, I feel one thing I want to start doing is when I do a photo shoot for a magazine, the person that bike is, they usually don't never get. The only time they see that photo shoot is when it's in the magazine afterwards. Yeah. So I'm probably just going to be, one thing I want to do is I want to get one photo from each shoot that I do and give it to that builder. Mm-hmm. So they actually have an actual 16 by 20 print, be it whatever type of, however I want to do the print. Yeah. But something they actually have that's raw. So they can actually put it on their wall and be like, that was my bike. Yeah. Instead of just, it's kind of cool to see your stuff in print. And have that whole print layout that some guys do, where they will get the magazine sliced up and put it in a frame. But you have the magazine, you don't have an actual print, design print specifically for you. And I feel that we're losing digital age. We're losing that print, which is
100% agree.
And it's that tangible. That's what makes photography great, is that tangibleness that you're able to have. Yeah. I love going back. Just to a museum where if you go to the what's the sticking museum, it's at the University of Texas in Austin, where they have the entire it's just all these photo collections that are in there, and you can get to go in there and actually hold some of the stuff. I've held photos from World War II, the actual photos from the D-Day invasion and stuff like that. If it was digital, we'd never have that. That's stuff that you only see. But to be able to hold something intangible like that, I feel that's what makes more of a connection to people. Holding a picture of your great-great-grandparents, or holding a picture of your family, a family shot from 20 years ago. That's never going to happen again. Yeah, yeah. People gone, people added, so that photo is, but to have that tangible in your hand it evokes something, I feel. And I feel that's what we were missing as creators.
So let me ask you this question, because this has been coming up a lot lately too, as what do you think speaks more to the soul, a photo or a video?
I feel video is a story, where a photo is a snapshot. Mm-hmm. And I feel that that 1 second in time, it depends on the person, because a video isn't, you watch it on a TV and it goes from start to finish, that's it. Yeah. I still feel a photo is more personalized, because it's a tangible physical object that you can do. Yes, you can have it digitally, but you can have it printed. Where a video, you can't really print the whole.
Yeah, I always like to use the reference of in your house, if video is so much more important, then why don't you put TVs up everywhere
you go,
all your TikToks looping, because those are way more important than photos, right? But the photo, I think, going on what you're talking about being a tangible thing, that's why I started getting some of my shit printed, because I wanted to, when you're editing for Instagram, your shit's fucking a lot more edited than what you would normally put with something you're printing. So it kind of helped me
going from a
square
to a humongous, or however big you want to do it. That's what I said. That's the tangibleness that you have in there.
The gift of taking a picture of something and giving it to someone, something I like. I just can't afford to do all these fucking metal prints for all my homies.
Yeah. That's why I said that's why I want to get my own printer, and then be like, here's a 16 by 20 that I can buy a case, or I can buy a big thick case of $50 of 50 sheets of paper. Yep. Of what I'm doing, and of course the ink is a little expensive and stuff like that. But still, the front end is it's expensive. But at the back end of actually sending something a tangible 16 by 20 I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because not everybody gets a professional photo done of themselves for a magazine or just randomly.
Yeah.
I feel that there's, we're talking as the motorcycle industry that we deal with a lot, is you have these guys that come out and we'll bring a model and then they'll put the chick on your bike, and they like, you get one with your cell phone or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, so we're gonna forget there's all this whole list of people coming up saying stuff. But I feel that it's cool doing that. Like if you want a cool shot with your, but I feel it's as a photographer, I would rather get a cool model on your bike, but I would rather hope that person would want that photo. Yeah. Or just, to have that. But we get the guy come up behind with a cell phone and getting the same shot. I mean, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I was there's things I want to do in this industry that aren't done, but I'm trying to figure out how to get it where it's going to be kind of more like if I'm there doing a photo shoot and somebody comes up and I take a picture of somebody's bike, I would hope they would come up to me like, hey, can I get a copy of that? But still not be like just thinking that they're going to get it for free.
Yeah.
Because I understand, yes, it's digital and it's easy for us to do a digital shot, but at the same time, me holding $10,000 worth of camera equipment in my hand to take that photo compared to your $1,000 phone, which that's, it's a lot different. And there's a story I've used for multiple people depending on, yes, cell phones. There are some, I've done stuff with this and done awesome.
Green Bubble Gang over there.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. I'm not an iPhone person. I'm a Galaxy person. It's the interface is the only reason why. Okay. I just can't stand the interface. I have an Apple computer. I have MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
It's the interface. But at the same time, I've had thought many times about having an iPhone because of some of the editing software on there and some of the video and photo software. I love it.
Yeah, even just like if you're using Lightroom, being able to
just going back and forth,
full quality with airdropping and everything.
Yeah, just little things like that. I mean, there's little things that are back and forth. I've had a Samsung phone since way back in the day.
Yeah,
so that's why I've just loved the interface processors and stuff like that. But I lost my whole train of thought. That's what happens with my brain.
So when you were talking about like doing photos and like comparing towards a phone.
Yeah, okay. The craziest time I ever had, we were doing MotoGP one time, and people think that just because you have one of these with, you spend $1,000 on an iPhone or Galaxy, you think your phone's just as good as me holding $10,000 to $20,000 worth of. I got $10,000 worth of glass alone on one lens if I'm using a 600 millimeter. That's me and another friend of mine. We're doing MotoGP and we're outside in the normal general area. It was during practice day, so not a lot of crowds. And we're on this hillside right as you come through turn 3 and the S's.
Yeah,
he's got a 600 millimeter lens with a 2x teleconverter, so he's seeing guys' eyes color through their helmets, through the visors. And we're shooting over the crash fence because the angle is just really cool. So we're shooting over the crash fence and they're getting the guys instead of being up on the crash fence. We're just getting a wider shot. It's kind of cool. And I have some, I can't remember what focal lengths I was using. So we're sitting there, bikes would come through. We go through, do our shots, look at the back of the camera. And I'll see this, damn it. Another bike comes in. We go get our shots, look at the back of the camera. God damn it. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then one more time, another bike comes in, me and my buddy, we pan through, get our shots. We're shooting 10 frames a second, something like that. And here's, son of a bitch. I look behind me, here's a guy with an iPhone. And he's looking at his phone, looking at the back of our cameras, looking at his phone, looking at the back of the camera. His bike comes, he's trying to get the same. He can't understand why he's not getting the same shots we are with our phones, or with his phone and our cameras. Because he's seen the back of our cameras, and he has no idea. He's like, why can't he? And I heard him say, why can't you get the same shots? I was like, that's why you're a photographer between an iPhone person.
What the iPhone or what a camera phone is replacing is the point and shoot of the film days.
But people think it's all because my phone's got 10 times zoom on it.
Yeah, dude, trust me, that argument that you have that shit.
Yeah.
Let me know how your moon pics
I have never taken one with a 10 times zoom. If I did take one with a 10 times zoom, it was magneted to the wall, and I was just doing it just to see what the hell was out there. I'm not taking an actual photo that far away. Are you serious?
But like, you can get cool shots, but you can't print them. to skip. Like,
yes,
you can't get good prints. They don't have
Yes.
enough information
Yes.
captured in these things. Like, if you hold up your fucking Nikon or my Canon, it's a fucking huge thing compared to this.
Yeah.
How the hell do you think this has got enough in
When,
there to
when,
do
when,
it,
when
you
the
know?
sensor is smaller than the nail on my pinky.
Yeah.
That's the size of the sensor, smaller than the nail on my pinky.
Yeah.
When compared to a 35 millimeter sensor in our full frames.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, like I think where it all boils down to it as to where people value photography or not is just based on where they use it in their life.
Yes.
If it's only on social media,
how you're consuming it, and
then
yes.
I get how that could be lost, right?
Yes.
Maybe it was a photo that did really well for your social media, so you have a bigger connection to that because of the dopamine hit you got posting that
Yes.
and all that shit came to you. But when you start taking pictures, like especially when you ride bikes, man, like you never know on these trips, you're hanging out with your buddies and then they're gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like all you have is like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not a good analogy to use for like why you should have a fucking $10,000 camera.
Well, the same thing is the best camera is the one you have in your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
That is definitely, I mean, yes. I mean, but from the days of us, the point and shoot, a little 35 millimeter point and shoot you had at a wedding and then you sent it off, got it developed. That's still, you're creating a memory, which is, yes, that's the same. That's literally what this is.
Yeah.
This is replacing that memory 35 millimeter.
Yeah, like the disposable
Yes, a little
cameras
disposable that we
buy
had
or
as a
some
kid,
shit.
that you go run around a wedding and take some snapshots and then you send it off and get it back. That's literally what this is replacing. But like I said, compared to the $10,000 or $8,000, $10,000, does everybody need one of those? Everybody never needed them back then.
You know what? You know what it really enabled to happen is dick pics. If you think about it, there was only. I mean, you had to take a picture of your thing and send it to fucking Walgreens.
Thus, my fair. They had to. So they had to do that, get it back, and then they had to put it into an envelope.
Then you
and
look
put
at
a
their
stamp.
eye. You're like, all of them came out good.
And the one guy just. I remember I had a friend of mine that worked at a Walgreens, and he said if they got anything like, because they get to see the film, they want to print it.
Yeah,
they'd be like, nope, you're getting your film back, and that's it.
You're like, dude, where are the titties at? Took pictures of, dude. I want to see those.
I mean, just imagine. I mean, I understand that most of those guys would probably be developing their own film back then.
Yeah.
But think of like the whole craze we had of like the up the skirt shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were back in, I mean, there probably was back in the day anyways, because it's just nature of the beast.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you have to be that creepy guy that would come with the trench coat. You got my thumb for me? You got my photos for me?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It's like those type of things create culturally different things. It's more available. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the phone,
the selfie
yes,
is a complete
was a whole new
thing.
thing. Well, like I said, period is with this. We grew up there the age before. I mean, we're in that gap, between. Because like I said, you're 39, I'm 40. We're in that gap between technology being there, where the only technology we had was a 3x5 floppy. Not even before then. I mean, when we literally had encyclopedias, and you were out all day long until they'd be in your yard when the streetlights came on, to the point of having the green screen from Apple and 3x5s and playing Oregon Trail and all the stuff like that, to the printer, the whole channel lining up and the whole status sheets to that, to this. We lived that whole we watched it all happen.
And like I said, half our life without phones, and we lived the other half of our life with phones.
We actually had to memorize. We actually had to memorize a number, or if you didn't have the an answer machine, it was literally the one thing of you had to call collect and try to get the answer out. Please leave your name at the beep. I'm going to practice. Come pick me up. Click. Your parents are going to pay for a collect call. Hell no. Nobody had a quarter with them.
Did you ever have a beeper?
Yes, when I was in the military, I did. When I first got the
that was like the ultimate flex when I was a kid, man.
Way
if
back
you had
then.
a beeper, especially if you had a see-through case one.
Oh no! Remember Nokia's change the face plates. Those things still. I always say there's a meme. There's a photo out that in Iraq somebody made an IED with one of those phones and provides explosive device, and it didn't work. So they found the bomb. And it says one missed call on the screen.
Still fucking made it.
It's still
indestructible, man. Honestly, man, so many things change.
But like I said, like I told you before, we have a supercomputer in our hand. Literally have a supercomputer, and we're dumber for having this in our hands.
It's weird, man. Like I said, with everything, the iPhone or just the smartphone in general, changed things a lot. It definitely allows social media to ramp up because it became something you could have in your pocket instead of you go home and get on the computer, right?
And those old instead of having dial up, you had when the whole changed.
It's like, there's just so many things that's changed culturally around that situation. And like when it comes to photography, I understand how that ultimately killed most magazines.
Yes.
It made it available so anybody can make videos and anybody can do that. So YouTube blows up.
Yep.
And honestly, I find more value in watching YouTube all day than I Netflix, to be completely honest with you.
Yes, extremely.
Whether it's something I want to learn or something I want to be inspired by. Like there's something on YouTube.
And that's the thing is I don't fault anybody that creates on YouTube that actually has substance. That's we're going back to that. You don't understand what I mean by substance on it too.
Make sure the camera went on me.
Yeah. He's bouncing over there like some chick. It's no offense. But when you have the guys that are like showing, TC Bros, they're actually showing how to do like changing oil or do something. Where you got substance to it, where it's actually you can learn something, you just learn how to fix something, learn something. Period. My favorite is like this day in history, or I love watching those history things. I'm just a history buff. Period. But something that actually is that helps society.
Yeah.
And I understand. Yes, everybody has their outlets. It's definitely changed of how people see each other these days and age.
Yeah.
Which I understand. Which is it's a nature of how society changes. I feel that yes, it is desensitizing a lot of us on certain aspects of what we think is cultural appropriate, and what isn't. But is it for us okay to say that, to say what is right and what is wrong from culture?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a shop, and I use the F word to describe everything. And not
they did a whole show on F word alone. Come on, I mean there's varying stages of the F word that you can use. So that's just true.
There's just a lot of differences that's happened. I think it's been probably the hardest thing is there's a weird disconnect that I feel like happens. I feel like a lot of us were never supposed to be this known. I don't like to use the word fame, but there's a small amount of fame that comes with having a successful YouTube channel, having a successful Instagram or photographer.
Yes.
Like these small jobs or these small things that are all new to us.
Yes.
Like there's nobody in the background going, "Hey, you should act like this." Or now I got to watch a YouTube video to see how to act appropriately with, certain things.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And the way you carry yourself.
Yes, extremely. And of course, back in the day, everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. Everybody wants to be famous.
Help me out with that.
Yeah, but I was saying that was like
he's the one that told me the F word.
Back in the day, though, the only way you became famous was you went to Hollywood and actually became famous. Yeah, you ended up in Cops. Or you ended up, in the back of some newscast somewhere during a hurricane or tornado. That thing came through like a giant train, and that's how it happened.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. They raping everybody around here.
That's how it was back in the day. So yes, having social media, everybody is craving for that 50 minutes of fame. But that's also how the 50 minutes of fame came about, was because of social media.
Do you follow the influencers in the Wild page on Instagram?
I've seen it a couple times. It's one of those things that I used to try to keep on top of all the trending things, just because that's just how it was being a photographer and stuff like that. You kind of just have after a while, it's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting, and it starts fraying your brain alone when you have to try to stay up with such and such person and what they're doing, and I don't care about the Kardashians and the Joneses, and
this is more of a people watching aspect where you're watching.
I understand that where you're watching the crazy people behind the ring light trying to do their TikTok dances.
It's not even so much that; it's just what people do in public and the lack of shame that they maybe should have. I don't know. I say I have too much shame, so I'm way more reserved.
But that's the problem we're having is everybody's trying to chase that clout.
Well, that's what I was talking about, like how I don't really, I'm not a huge fan of TikTok. I feel like it's about putting out a lot of content and not about putting out quality content.
Yes, and TikTok is definitely going to be. That's not bad. I mean, it's on TikTok and stuff like that. So you do whatever you want in your life. I don't. Like I always say, do whatever you want in your life. Just don't try to cram it down my throat. My problem with TikTok though is it's for one, it's not used the same way in China, which started in the country anyways.
Yeah.
Compared to the way we use it.
Oh yeah.
That's literally, and like I said, and I'm thinking about my kids when it comes back to this. It's going to be our downfall. When everybody's chasing some 15-second clout,
eating Tide Pods and shit like that.
That's even before TikTok was even around. Come on, man.
The Snapchat.
But still, it's all these things where, like, I mean, what really is, yes, for the younger generation, I understand that there's nothing really out for you to, when you're as younger to really, like, do. I mean, without getting in trouble, things that we used to do, we damn near should have been in jail about 20 times when we were kids. But it's a safe thing. I understand that, but at the same thing, when you keep chasing that high, dopamine high of getting the like or getting the whatever, that's the problem. Because you got to think, over there in China, they don't do the dances and stuff like that. As long as you're doing something that is beneficial to society, that's what's rewarded.
Yeah.
Not you chasing some 15-minute, and we know, we've been around doing this long enough. People have seen this long enough. We know when you're faking and we know when it's real. We know when you're chasing clout and when it's actually something really actually happening. We know the difference. Mm-hmm. So these people come up with all these fake things. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Mm-hmm. But that's where we're at right now, and it's going to be something massive. So give it another 10 years, and it'll be give another 5 years, and something else will be out there that probably will even be more dumbing down our society.
I honestly feel like Instagram is probably going to start to deteriorate and become more of the Facebook thing. It already is. I guess I'm the boomer that's on Facebook talking about,
that's the problem is when you got Instagram pushing Reels.
Yeah.
Instagram, it was a photo app from day one.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, once Facebook bought it, they thought it was like, we need to compete. And that's the problem was when you have like not TikTok, that's the problem. It's not a US company. So they're like, this company, this outside agency comes out and makes this new one. We got to be like them. No, do what you were doing before.
Yeah.
And you'd be fine. Because if we have everything split up like it was before, you have your different niches. You have your different things going on. Mm-hmm. Don't try to put everything in the one thing because then everything else tries to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Why have 18 different platforms?
They're all doing the same
thing. They're all doing the same stupid thing.
Yeah. That's what's killing Instagram because as a aspiring photographer, they actively put videos out saying that they are no longer a photo sharing app. They are a video platform.
Yes,
is what they want to be, and that's why Reels that they're paying a lot of people. I've got a couple of checks by doing Reels. They're trying to put more of that content out there to compete with these things, but then it leaves no place for like a good photo.
Yes.
Right? And a good photo is what built Instagram.
Yes, what built it. Yeah.
And a good video built YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate someone that puts in the effort to go make a good video on YouTube way more than I appreciate somebody using all these like face swaps and this, that, and the other to do something that's funny but not very substance based.
Like if you want to make Instagram like TikTok, why would I be on Instagram to do TikTok so I can just go on TikTok to do TikToks?
Yeah.
What's the thing? I mean, that's what I understand.
Don't pull your hair out.
I still have hair. Good Lord.
Good luck. That's a good head of hair you got there, bud.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, I ain't
growing out. We had.
I wouldn't hide that fucking mane. Let that shit fucking flip and
let
flop.
It flow. It looks better when I have the Viking braid, but but thank God. I mean, that's the one good gene we have in our families where I still have full head of hair.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry.
Lucky.
Sorry.
I'm creeping. I'm horseshoeing.
But yeah, that's the whole thing is like when every app tries to be like every other app, then why do we have every other app?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Well, you know what's also weird that I do this as well? Even like I think I posted the first video on TikTok today, and I felt gross doing it. I felt like I need to wash my hands afterwards. When a new like social media app comes out, I'll usually set up an account with it and get on there just in case it is something that is cool or fun or whatever the case may be. But I might not ever post anything, or I might not pay any attention to it. You know what I mean? So
it's just so funny. I was trying to read everything. I'm like, I don't know, we're probably behind on the live stuff, the live chats, but it's just cool to see that people are actually listening. I mean, yeah. Hopefully they didn't think somebody better was going to be on. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. But yeah, it is a weird one, and it kind of like makes it hard to figure out, because I used to get like a decent amount of exposure on like a photo that I would post, whether it was a helmet or a bike, a good picture, things like that. And now, ever since they made these statements at the beginning of this year about their now a video platform on Instagram, they've throttled back the amount of exposure I get on a photo. Extremely. So much. It's almost like 2/3 are gone of what I normally would get.
My favorite is just the shadow ban.
Yeah.
Just the shadow ban. And I've had a couple, like, I had one reel that I've done a couple of reels, like 4 or like 5, I think, or something. Like this, something just like, let me try to make something just to try to do it. And I've had one that blew up, and it had like over 100 and some thousand plays, and I've got one right now that's been kind of bouncing around. My buddy Corey just doing a slow burnout around me, and maybe it's just the music or just how somebody, but that like all of a sudden started going crazy again. And I mean, it's just like anything else. And I always say, with social media, I don't care it's not the followers that I care about. Yeah. That number doesn't care whatsoever. It's the reach that it's the engagements is what I care about.
Yeah.
How many people are actually seeing your work? And when you have people that when they start throttling that, and when they start changing that because you're not doing a reel or you're not doing what they want you to do, that's the worst thing. Is when it comes to the shadow, like I said, the shadow bans. I post a thing with a gun, and I know exactly when I get shadow banned, because I can see it digitally. I can see it in the numbers for a fact. When they say, we're not shadow banning, yeah, you are, because I can watch it happen. Yeah. And that's the thing I understand is, like, I understand, yes, of our day and age and stuff like that, but unless I'm posting something that literally is dangerous, or literally it's like me pointing a gun at somebody else, which is not never going to happen, why are you going to throttle that image? When there's way more stuff on worse that's mine, way more that we know breaks the guidelines, but they leave it up.
Yeah.
Why is it me I have, less than 10,000 followers. Why do I get throttled? But when somebody that's got 500,000 and they're paying for all that stuff, probably because they're paying for it, that's how they get around it. But that's the problem, though, is why do you come with a free app? But of course, it always goes back down to the dollar, like it always does.
I would rather pay for the app, to be honest with you, and have things just normal.
Personally, I would too. If somebody,
how much would you pay a month for Instagram to be a perfect platform like it originally was?
Where it was just you posted a photo and that's what it was.
Places you grew based on the content you put out, whether people wanted to like it.
Personally, for being a photographer, I would. I mean, sounds bad. I would. Yes, I'd $100 a month.
Yeah,
that's just because of.
I would pay that.
Yeah,
for the amount of, especially the amount of good that's come from Instagram, I'd pay $100 a month for it.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, back to the original way it was.
Yeah,
but the same thing too is make it, if you did it back to the original way, where it would beneficial for an actual creator.
Yeah.
Because there's times now where I'm seeing it where that if you take a photo and you upload your image from like Dropbox or something like that, you can tell that it's not going to get as much reach as if you don't use it from the actual app.
Yeah, yeah.
And I understand, yes, because it is, it was designed to be taken with a photo from your phone, but still, I'm a creator. I have a business account on there. Yeah. Don't throttle a business account. Because that's what we're here to. Because you're promoting yourself and you're promoting the company that the companies you're working with that they're going to try to spend more time on there, but you're also promoting the platform itself.
Yeah. But when they started trying to implement the whole concept of paying creators, that was a good move.
Yes.
And I feel like Facebook should have been doing that years ago.
And if they can do it with YouTube, where you get paid for a certain amount of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if they came to Instagram and said, we're going to make Instagram like it was before, but if you want to get paid, you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
I will go ahead.
Yeah.
I will pay to play. Because of the same thing, it's going to be beneficial for myself to do that. Spend $100, I'll put it in my budget. Spend $100 a month but I won't get throttled. I won't, I'm able to put up my stuff the way I wanted to put it up and it'd be back to the way it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In an instant, I would pay that.
Yeah, I agree. I would as well. But yeah, it's like what they've been doing with the, right now, they were doing it to where like the reels would pay pretty good for like you get 100,000 views on a accumulation of videos on reels over in a month, you could get like a $250 check from that, right?
Yeah.
And those are really easy to get those kind of numbers if you're doing little 15-second videos, things like that. Now they want me to get 9, and so basically if I get 1.9 million views, they would give me a $1,000 check. That's what it was. I didn't think that was possible, but then I've got one video over 1 million.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then now they changed my Instagram where for me to make $1,000 off Instagram, I have to get 10 million views on videos.
See, that's the problem. Quit moving the damn goalpost.
If I got 10 million views on YouTube, like that's more than $1,000, I would think.
Yeah.
In most.
Heck, I mean, I'm glad the way I see it, I'm glad when 100 people looks at my photo.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, okay, it's me in a room like this.
Yeah.
If you get 1 or 2 people, your friends come in and look at it, that's cool. But imagine that room with 100 people in it.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. That's the part I try to harp on people when it comes to working with a company on social medias and stuff like that. Because you think,
on that, I got some stuff that
you get 100 people coming to look at your thing, or 1,000 people coming to look at your thing. But the same part, if I'm as a creator, because I hate the word influencer. Because I mean,
I just got it tattooed on me, man.
Where's that blackout marker?
I think it's on my neck.
No, you're putting brain. That's different. That's brain. But that's the thing.
That's the fuckboy influencer.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I'm the same thing. It's like I don't like wearing. I mean, yes, I work with companies, Law Tigers and stuff like that. So there's companies I work with that yes, I will wear branding because it's part of the deal with it. I mean, you got House of Harley, which are great guys. I mean, there's people that we work with that we don't mind wearing their brands. Yeah. I don't like it though when you like get a jacket and it's everything is on there. It's like every inch is covered, and we know who we're talking. You have it behind your ear. Yeah. They're notorious with some of their stuff where it's just like big plastered everywhere. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's still. I understand branding. I understand the concept of branding.
Well, back to what you were saying about how like these companies they have a misconstrued the way numbers are.
Yes,
on social media.
Because like I've lost work with companies because they're like, oh, you don't have 10,000 followers, we can't use you. You don't understand. It's like I'm a creator. I'm here to make photos for you to put on your site to promote yourself. Yeah, not me promote yourself for you. If you want to do that, yes, we can do that. But that's a completely different type of work.
Yeah, you're an influencer.
Yeah. Shut up. I hate that word. Well, that's a different type of like work that we're going to be doing with each other. But at the same time, then like I said, it goes back to that reach. It goes back to the people how many people are seeing your imagery. That's the numbers. That's like I said. That's the numbers I care about because it's not just. I mean, I don't care if my work gets out there and only a couple people see it. I would like more people to see it because of just the aspects of seeing the art and seeing the work. I could literally I could be done tomorrow and take another photo of my entire life, and I'm happy still because it's the people I've met and the memories I've made that I enjoy with it. But just me being able to take my photos and put my stuff out there for other people to enjoy it, that's what I enjoy. Is people seeing my work. So that's what I love to do. So that's why I like wish that's the part I wish we had more of was where it's not the numbers of followers, it's the numbers of your content.
I think that most brands don't realize how many customers they actually need to sell their product.
Yes.
I mean, I think they have a misunderstanding of that because let's say you have 10,000 followers, but your business can only handle about 1,000 customers a year. So that's what 10%.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah,
that's where it gets weird with numbers because, for influencer status, like having a lot of followers helps get more eyes on it naturally through the game of numbers.
Yes.
But the quality of the people that are watching your stuff and following you and being influenced by the types of things that you do with your stuff, like how you ride or what you shoot or what you use to paint bikes with or whatever the case may be, that's where it gets valuable to companies, right? Because if a company, let's say that said paint company doesn't have anybody in my world that are like, they're telling everybody, hey, we make great paint products, and no one's like, well, who uses it?
Yeah, who uses it? Yeah.
Like, because you don't make anything with the paint. You give it to guys like me to make with the paint. Yep. So who is using your paint makes your company more interesting to people. If you got the best painters on your brands, then most people are going to lean towards you for paint.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that a lot of people just don't understand. It's not about followers as much as it is about the content of the people that you work with.
It's what you're making, who's making it, and how it's being put out. Because if you're putting, I mean, like you said, if you've got a wheel and one person uses your wheel, but you have 10,000 people looking at the wheel. I mean, is everybody going to know about it unless it's like some titanium and it's doing some wacky stuff that nobody's ever seen before? Then I understand that. But everybody else makes a wheel. But what's the difference between your wheel and another person? So as long as you have the right people pushing it that are making innovations with that, being the paint job, like what you're doing, other guys are doing the craziest with the combining old school paint flakes and the old, seeing stuff from the chopper days, the lowrider days, the big wheel bagger days, all the stuff that we've got going through, which is we are reaching a plateau. I feel we've talked about this. I talked about this in Arizona with some friends. We're reaching a plateau on what the industry is capable of doing. This is the same thing we've reached in the weapons world, where you can only build so many parts for an AR-15, or you can only build so many parts for a big wheel bagger or a performance bagger. Before we're like, it's the same thing over and over and over, or it's something that nobody really asked for that. Why are you making that? It's supposed to be a game changer, but really how much of a game changer it is, but it's still keeping that interest. And I think that's the biggest thing is just paint is always paint, but it's just how crazy, but still make it look really cool at the same time. Yeah, is where we're at. Like I said, for me, I think it's the old school choppers is what I'm going back to. Just the
unskilled paint jobs.
Well, no, because they still require a skilled painter, I think, to be right. But it's just the not extreme wackiness, but this pushing the boundaries. I feel is what we need to do. Because I mean,
the boundaries of paint, there's small increments that are made every X amount of years. In late 2008, 9, 10, there were some big changes that were made in the airbrush world where realism started to become a much more obtainable thing. With but my shit isn't nothing compared to what's out there.
I know.
I'm way on the bottom of that list. But paint goes through phases where right now a lot of paint is being influenced by, we're coming off the panel flaked out jobs, and we're also interested in this race helmet thing. It's all kind of coming full circle with our Dynas were flaked out and paneled out with gold leaf and silver leaf, and now we're like, fuck, we want to race these things. We want to make them look fast. So you get these other style, which is like the NASCAR helmets. Yeah. And you blend the two together, right? And you got like a new style, essentially. Yep. People always go back and forth with like, oh, well, flames go in and out. They never go away, but they go in and out. Right? They'll go in for a couple years, and everybody's like, fuck, it's a classic. It's never going to go away. But it doesn't mean it's popular all the time. No. So big wheel baggers, like they pushed the envelope pretty heavy, right? And then it turned into spaceships. They became unrideable. I think the biggest commodity in custom motorcycles is just riding them right now.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that shops forget about.
Yes.
And all the shit they do to their bikes.
Yeah, you build a bike that literally cannot be ridden, but it's like, oh, we wheeled it in, and it was like, well, we've ridden it. Like what? 2 blocks? You rode it from the shop to the trailer into the show. And that's it.
If you follow some of the Born Free builds, the last couple of years, there's some fucking wild shit's being
extremely done. Yeah. And I think one of the cool things was like I got to just watch the guys from the FXR Throwdown.
Okay, yeah.
Them show up, at Arizona, and they rode from Winslow, Arizona, all the way into Phoenix. It's a long. It's like
200 miles.
Oh, it's a long ride. Yeah, from Winslow, Arizona, down into Phoenix.
Oh shit, 200 miles.
And these guys, like I know a couple guys where they were like losing oil pressure, but they rode them. And these guys were like,
that was my shakedown run. That's 1,000 miles from my house.
And this, from Dallas to the Monument Valley. Oh, yeah, that's a shakedown run.
And I was on my way to San Francisco.
And that was your shakedown run.
That was my shakedown run.
Damn, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
but
guess I'm not an FXR friend. I'm just playing. No, those guys, they built some sick bikes.
Yes,
Hoffman's bike was one of my favorites of that build. That the Jeremy Lucky Strike painted it. It was just a beautiful build. It really was.
Yeah, some of those bikes were. I mean, there was some really really nice bikes to see. But like I said, the whole thing was just building an awesome bike and riding it. You know, it wasn't really, I mean, they didn't really care. They just rode them. They just built an awesome bike and rode it.
Yeah.
It wasn't because, they're going to be in a magazine or, because it was this. No, they just built an awesome bike, got around his friends, and rode them.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, from the last couple of rallies I've been at to hang out with some of those the hamsters, just hearing some of those guys' stories, I'm like, those guys.
Pretty wild, yeah.
Oh, extremely. And it's just cool to meet that, you know, when I first heard about them, or when I first heard about the hamsters and stuff like that, I thought it was one of those good old boy.
Illuminati.
I don't know about going that far, but I was the good old boy rich clubs to be part of the hamsters. But then to start talking with some of the guys and the scene of that, it's like, no, it's just you have a love for the bikes, and this love for this riding was the main reason.
When we did the Yaffy podcast, he went down the rabbit hole and talked about a lot of the early hamster stuff. And that was a real fascinating podcast to learn a lot about that. I've had quite a few hamsters on the podcast, but the Yappy one, we went pretty deep into that world and his early days with it and the early days of it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty rad.
And it's just, I mean, there's the guys I've hang out with and the guys I've talked to, they're just good old boys, and they just love riding it and they're just having fun, and then that's all it's about.
The whole way to get into it is like you have to build a custom bike.
Yeah.
Like a custom frame bike.
Yes.
That's how you, I mean, you got to be invited into it.
You build a custom bike, and there's somebody likes you enough and it's like, you want to be part of it. That's how it is. It's no like you still have to, like, I guess the word prospect once you get in.
You got to get used to wearing yellow shirts.
Yeah. A big giant yellow shirt at all the rallies. But it's still, like I said, it's a love for riding and love for building a bike. And of course, I feel a lot of it now where guys, there's amazing bikes coming out, but a lot of it's just bolt on. That's how I feel. It's a lot of it's but that's just technology is how we go through technology. And there's still, to me, there's
no money in building bikes.
No, that's why extremely. There's no money there's not a lot of money in photography. We don't become photographers to be rich. It's the same thing. Yeah. And I always, motorcycles, period, it's rolling art, no matter how you put it. To me, now determines between the type I ride and the ones I don't ride. That's the only difference. But it's still a big wheel bagger. I'm not a person that would ride them or have one of myself.
Well, if you were there, you probably would.
I've got
that time of year.
Yeah, but there was one that we saw in Arizona. I mean, they were there for the I think it was the Paul Yaffe's bagger show, and they all look the same. But then we saw one that actually did a double brake rotor on the front. The calipers were in the center, and then they had an outer race and an inner race of calipers. Yeah, and it was just cool. That was the only thing. It was like different innovation. I think I know what we're talking about. But they're all. I mean, but if you look at them, they're all big wheel up front, big joint, drop it down. Yeah. They're all the same. Designed to do laps around Houston and go straight. I understand. Well,
back 12 years ago when that stuff was gaining popularity, it was the thing to have. Yeah. Right. And I mean, if you were making money in the motorcycle industry at that time, you had or was building those bikes. You know what I mean? I was in that world. I had fun. I rode mine across country multiple times. Yes. But it got muddied. It got kind of messy. It got a little bit like not fun to be in that crowd because it wasn't really a crowd of people that wanted to ride bikes. Yeah, right? but like I said, at the same time as seeing them and looking at them, they are still it's a pain about to build them. Yeah. It's a pain about to paint them, pain about the whole thing. Yeah. But still, once you get completed with them and look at them, they're still a rolling piece of art. Yeah, they're still amazing to look at. I mean, you drop $90,000-$100,000 on one of these bikes. They're amazing bikes. Yeah. But the hard part is a lot of people are used to seeing $90,000-$100,000 on one of those bikes, but they haven't quite. They don't look nothing like performance baggers, and I have friends that have $90,000-$100,000
bikes and performance baggers. Yes, I know guys that have choppers that are $100,000, $200,000 bikes. Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, any bike all depends on how much money you want to drop into it, and I mean, but still, at the same time, as seeing a $100,000 bike, but then right next to a clapped out chopper that the guy limped his way there, or like my buddy had bent his rear axle. And we're going down through Daytona, and he's doing this because he's bouncing up and down. Yeah. That's badass. And thank God he finally got it fixed. And he's done in Austin, and he was dragging down that freaking in Fandango, which I could have been there, but I was in Arizona. I still love those. Either or. I mean, clapped out guys, those two types of worlds. you may see the one guy that, you know, like I said, you have the uppie and the old dude, but still in the same world. You're on two wheels rolling. That's still beautiful for me.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I call me the greasy, dirty, nasty, you know, biker, or, you know, your pristine $100,000 bikes. It's still the same.
Yeah.
You're still wrenching. You're still rolling on two wheels. You're still hair flowing the, you know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still throwing the helmet on. You're just still rolling down the road,
Yeah.
getting the bugs in your teeth. That's what life is. It's still two-wheel therapy, wind therapy, rolling on the road.
Yeah, you know what you were saying earlier, though. It is very. It's a hard thing to understand about, like, we're getting to the point where things are being phased out. The people that are doing real immersive, badass, one-off chopper type stuff, they're usually doing it for themselves,
Yes.
right? Because the amount of money it takes to build those type of things now.
Oh yeah.
You know, like $100,000 isn't a lot of money in that world anymore. When you've got 6 months or 7 months of this plus the cost of parts and all the labor, like, it gets up there.
Yeah.
And it just phases it out. But you know, at the same time, when choppers were cool, Harleys weren't really accessible or that great, right? So then you get these companies like S&S and all these other Paco frames and all this.
Yeah.
And then, or the 2000s where you couldn't get or late 90s, early 2000s, you couldn't even buy a Harley. You had to get on a waiting list, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so this whole culture of building custom bikes becomes around. Guess what? Harley upped their production. Guess what went away? That. Mm-hmm. It become big wheel baggers because there was baggers everywhere now. And then that turns into baggers wobble like a motherfucker. Then now they got the shit figured out pretty damn good.
Yep.
So these bikes are coming out great. They have a warranty that we usually void pretty quickly. But they come out great. So you don't have to do much to them, and you get to go enjoy it and still have something that looks cool.
Well, I think one of the best analogies I think with bikes I ever heard was Rusty from D&D Exhaust. Every bike you buy from Harley is a starter kit.
Yeah, 100%.
It's literally it's the base model starter kit. Even though you're buying the most expensive Road King or, you know, most expensive one off their line, it's still a basic starter, because what's the first thing you do? You roll into a custom shop and you're changing grips, you're changing floorboards, you're changing mirrors. You're personalizing. You're making it yourself. But still, that's the thing is, bikes, period, yes, there might be more, Harley might have more of a back end behind them of secondary, third companies making stuff for them. Yeah. But motorcycles as a whole is one of the only things that I feel that the average person can literally get, customize it, make it themselves, and off they roll. Because you think of a car, you can do it, but you're going to be dumping a lot more money into a car than you are on a bike. Like I said, you know, I traded guns for my Harley. Yeah. How more texting can you get?
People win Harleys in poker games.
Poker games, you know, they win bikes on a dirt drag. I've seen it happen. Yeah, yeah. You want they'll trade pinks on a dirt drag at Fandango. I mean, pretty much. I've watched it. I've watched crazy things happen before. You know, I mean, there's what I mean. I spent $200 for a sticker pack from Cruise Original. We'll get one of his bikes. Yeah, you know that he's going off for right now. I mean, there's guys on Instagram that'll do $25 a spot for a bike. You know, they're raising money and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem is you get to some of them that may be a scam. But I know a lot of guys are putting them up there that it ain't no scam.
I got a lot of buddies that's won lots of bikes off social media. You know.
Yeah.
I got one buddy, we call him the Raffle Kings. He's won like 7 bikes. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just culture, man. It's just all different. I mean, the thing about the motorcycle industry, and I've gotten this through all the conversations I've had with guys like Yaffe and Covington and these guys that were really around in the 90s. Yeah. They kind of saw the progressions and how it's changed. Those are the guys with the wealth of knowledge, man, where they've seen things come and go and come and go. And the only thing I would say is, like, I wonder if with age, and this isn't a dig at all, this is just an actual question, I wonder how long they can continue to have the same energy into new trends as they did originally. Yes. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm pretty much all in with performance bikes and have been for a while. Yeah. Depending on how long this lasts, I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to chase into or completely adopt into a whole nother
style.
Trend.
Yeah, a whole other style and stuff.
If this shit goes a different direction, I might be that guy that's like, you know what? I'm good with these bikes, and I'm just going to ride this style till the wheels fall off. Well, you know,
and that's the thing is, like, I keep the joke is I get people all the time. Hey, Nate, when are you gonna get a bagger? Nate, when are you gonna get a bagger? And my joke, when are you gonna give me a bagger? Yeah. I mean, like I said, I like the old school bikes. The baggers are great bikes. I mean, at some point I'll probably have one. Yeah. But that's just more for a traveling aspect. Yeah. It's just a little bit easier. But I love it though. I mean, when I went with Adam and the crew, and we all went out to Terlingua last October.
Oh, you went on that trip?
Oh,
that
yeah, man.
So good.
Oh, yeah, the run to Terlingua. I mean, I rode 1,800 miles in 4 days, dude. That was an awesome trip. Because I rode from my house in Clean Copper's Cove to Houston first. 3.5 hour ride. Linking with Adam.
Definitely met him on the way.
The day before the ride, because I helped get everything. I helped get everything up with it. So we helped get everything done. Then rode with him and one of our other guys from Louisiana, from Houston, downtown Houston, all the way out to Alpine, and then from Alpine all the way into Terlingua, and then the 2 days of us riding around Terlingua.
Yeah, that happened at a time. I think we were about to go on another trip in a different direction.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it.
But yeah, that looked fun. I still have not made it down there to the Big Bend area.
And the ride was amazing. I loved it. What was cool though is the day that I was leaving, like I said, mine's a Softail. It's a black line's a Softail. It's a Dyna front end, Softail rear. I got a removable sissy bar, and I've got a 40-liter wet weather bag or dry bag that I have, and then I had some other things hanging. I was strapping more stuff on there, cargo nets and brush straps and stuff like that. But it was cool because I was sitting there at the gas station, like the one and only gas station in Terlingua. Yeah. And these other older guys roll up on, I think 2 were on a Gold Wing, and some guys were on, I think it was a Road Glider. They were on there, older guys. And one of the guys saw it and he goes, "Man, I remember riding like that back in the 70s." And I was like, I felt so proud, like so cool because he was like, he remembers riding like an old, he was like, "I had an old clapped out chopper," and and he was talking like he rode the thing to like Woodstock. He told me he rode the Woodstock in that chopper. He told me,
damn.
Then he's like, I was here on this chopper. I drove cross country, and
now he's on a Gold Wing.
And now, he was still on a Harley.
I was gonna call him
still on a Harley. But hey, come on, you guys like Brad. I was probably 70-some years old, man.
That's rad though. That if he could still ride and be a part of that stuff, like that's I pray that I can still ride in my later.
Oh, me
years.
too. I mean, if I went, that's definitely one way I dream about going out. If I went out on my bike,
Jax Teller style.
Oh, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna drive myself in front of a semi. Come on, no. But if I'm rolling down the road, heart attack fail, heart seizes up, goes over. Hey, I was living my life. Yeah. I've always said that there's 2 ways. There's 2 ways I'm going out. Either one, some crazy messed up way, and my friends all go, "Yep, that's Nate for you. That's how he went out." Or, what's that smell? I haven't seen Nate in a couple months. You seen him? What's that smell? Those are the 2 ways I'm going out.
Epic ways.
Yeah.
You're gonna cause a little issue in the vicinity. Yeah, you have to Lysol your whole house or something. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Like I fell in love with the photography. While I was, enjoying my trips and stuff like that. And as much as I've complained about it a lot over the last 6 months about like not finding a way to really make any money with it. I still use it daily. You know what I mean? It helps my brand. It helps my business. And I'm also not implying that I did this or anything like that, but I've also seen over the last couple of years a lot more individuals and brands themselves getting some type of media guy on board that actually has some skills with a camera, or whatever, and seeing content kind of get better across the board.
And I feel also that being this industry with the motorcycle industry, you got to get a guy that knows the bikes, that rides, that understands it.
Agree.
Because I've actually ran in the weapons industry. I ran into a couple of marketing guys that came from college and they had no idea about guns. I've dealt all the time, no idea what the heck they're talking about, but they're running a marketing team for a whole company, no idea. But it's one of those things, to help in the industry, you got to be part of the industry and love the industry to be part of it. Yeah, that's the only way I feel that anything goes along. But like you said, for a company to excel, you need someone that actually physically knows what they're doing with a camera. Not, we got Joe in the back. He got one for Christmas. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. No, he doesn't. Sorry, no offense. Joe's also answering phones 5 out of 6 times. Yeah. Is he doing the photos for you?
He's not spending 4 hours setting up a shoot for your product. To get one shot that you're going to post on Wednesday. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difference.
Yeah, he's answering the phone 5 days or 6 days or 4 days out of the week, and you got 1 day of maybe doing photos. Yeah. Or you got them answering phones 90% of the time, but then you guys go to a rally and you got them bringing the camera out for a rally.
Yeah. while he's also selling T-shirts.
Yes, yeah, behind the booth.
Yeah, content like social media, like even like I think certain companies now, the bigger ones, are probably gonna have to have a guy that is gathering content and someone that's curating the content for. So like you said, a team more or less. But you know, I don't think that a lot of the older companies realized how quickly social media
has taken hold,
and how important it is to have a full-time guy working it.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
No, with with Trask, their photographer Michael, he and I we're good friends. We met at Sonoma last year, but now at the rallies, it's like where
I met him at Sturgis last year.
Okay,
when they were set up.
Yeah, and with him and I mean we run into each other all the time and everywhere we go, and that's literally. We've both done amazing work, and it was cool because like we have a mutual thing where we're able to literally. He can call me up and be like, "Hey, I need your help on this."
Yeah,
you know. Or there's this from Sonoma. I gave them. I mean, not like we did a deal where they used some of my stuff. They had some of my photoshops that had a better angle, or I was able to get something different than because if you're one guy at a racetrack. You can't get the whole racetrack during the whole series or during one race. Yeah. When your guy comes across the finish line and if you're at turn 5 where they passed, where Trask passed at the very last lap of the race, and he comes across the finish line, I was there at the finish line to get a slow-mo of their guy coming across the finish line. He was way over half the way across the track. There's no way you're going to get from that side of the track to the finish line within less than a minute and a half in a race. So you have to have a team or get really good friends with everybody else and just make it, beneficial for everybody working together.
Exactly.
And that's how this industry works. You make friends. I feel that's the thing is there's no room for enemies. We're all doing the same thing. We're all here to have fun, make some cool stuff, make some money if we can at the time. But the same thing is what's the difference? Why do we have to be in a battle between each other? Because we both sell wheels. Yeah, I understand that, but this is so big.
That's an older mentality that I think that we haven't had it much in our newer performance scene, but unless you're from like California, a lot of the California companies beef with each other, but it's because they have a long history.
Yes, they have a long history. But
employees go back and forth, the customers go back and forth, and to where it's like it kind of pits some of these brands together or against each other.
But I feel at the same time, this industry is so big. There's room for everybody. I mean, unless you're making something that doesn't need to be part of the industry that you think needs, like this is revolutionary. But it's still at the same time, it's like
it could be bigger.
Yeah,
100%.
Understandable. Yeah. But that's the thing. But like I said, the biggest thing is we need to get more people riding again. Because, like I said, the average age of a Harley rider is 65 or older. It's getting the younger generations in to still love this industry.
One thing I learned from Zombie Mike, I've said it a million times, is in order to get more people to ride, companies that are doing well and are successful in the motorcycle industry, they need to reinvest into the motorcycle industry. They need to find ways to do things, to be a part of those programs that are, whether it's doing like sponsoring YouTubers or some of these other things to help kind of get the message out more than they can with their social media. Because their customer base, like Trask's customer base is like selling $90,000, $100,000 bikes.
Yeah.
Or $10,000 turbos, right?
Yes.
That's, what about the guy that just jumped on a dime? Like, how are you going to help him stay interested in motorcycle long enough to where when he starts making that kind of money, he can afford your products?
Understandable.
And so companies need to take a little bit more of a ownership of the industry and try to put more into it instead of always look at it like this table and what can I get off the table real quick.
Extremely. Yeah. What share of the market can I grab instantly? It's where that if I invest this much in the industry, bringing, like I said, sponsoring a rider or sponsoring a bike night or something like that, to bring people out to that, to see what you're building, then you're going to get in the back end, you're going to get more people knowing that name.
Exactly.
Or knowing that the time it's like, okay, well, I can't buy a Trask turbo now, but be it 5 years, 10 years on the road when he's finally like, I can get a turbo now that I want. Because we all started somewhere with a bike. So then at some point we're going to upgrade. It's going to happen. Yeah. Everybody does it. You see the next thing. Like, you may buy a Ferrari, but you're going to want a Bugatti at some point.
Yeah.
You may buy the entry Lambo, but you're going to want an AMG or whatever it is. You're always going to want the next upgrade at some point because that's just that nature of the thing. You know, nobody wants the butter sandwich. They want a PB&J.
Yeah.
Or if they want a ham sandwich, and they want a ham sandwich with lettuce, then tomato, and then bacon, and all this stuff.
Going.
Yeah. You're going to want that at some point. So having your name out there, sponsoring the local person, like we said, going back to the grassroots of sponsoring the guy in the shop, wrenching, doing a flat track, an old hooligan flat track. That's where I see a lot of people that starting from.
Yeah, they do.
And I feel that's what we need to get back to.
Making parts for sportsters in general.
Yes, that's what I feel. It's going back to the flat track. I remember growing up in the Midwest, watching during the first season. You had a week of the fair, and one night was tractor pulls, one night was demolition derby, one night was flat track races, and then you had the horse show or whatever. But those guys out there, wrenching in their garage. It's the same with the guys, NASCAR. Like I said, going back to NASCAR, started in a garage, wrenching back and forth. That's how it all starts. Innovation starts from there, and then you get the grassroots going, and then coming down the line, that's when you have your multi-million-dollar cars, going around Daytona and stuff like that. At some point, start out as, it's the same way that motocross, exactly how motocross runs. That's what we need to do more. That's what I said, going back to building Sportster parts, building the grassroots things.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like finding ways to keep this thing going. And if you think about the motorcycle industry, it's not that old.
No,
40 years old. I mean, there was obviously stuff older, but
really, if you think about it, it's 1920s.
No, I mean like.
Well, you're talking about like just like what the
aftermarket shit.
Well, aftermarket
shit really started picking up in the late 80s.
Yes,
it was when computers
extremely.
made CNCs.
Yes.
More available, so people started manufacturing.
Yep.
It went from like you had a couple guys like S&S and Arlen Ness and things like that to boom, everybody.
Yes.
Or it was like S&S and PM, and then Ness kind of came around in the 80s, and it just kind of made it more accessible. So now you get a lot more people coming into the industry as opposed to. So we're talking about a 40-year-old ish, real profitable industry. I mean, drag is I think 40 years old or just under.
Something like that. Yeah, I can't think of the actual dates on them, but yeah, I mean. Well, most times, if you look at a lot of things, it's like 76 to 79.
Yeah,
is when like a lot of these aftermarket companies started right on that section, right in the early ones, drag and S&S and all those guys. Yeah. It's all late 70s, early 80s, and even now, I mean, you think rapid prototyping. You can 3D print something in metal now, and have it on a bike within a day. Or 2 days.
My buddy, my machinist, keeps making parts that I don't understand. And he sends me pictures of it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what do you
do with that? And he's
I saw a couple of stuff in Arizona. I was just like, what the heck is this? I'm like, where in the world is coming this one?
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I was at Crazy Original shop and just watching I was there when they brought one of the prototypes in for the new the Baja lights. Just watching, his machinist was literally like down the road. He's like, all right, here it is. I was like, I'm like, what? And, like, that's what it is. Like there's the second one ever made. And it's this whole new bracket for a Baja light. I know I've been at the Baja 1000 and photographing down there, and watching those Baja lights and now to see them on bikes.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's wild. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, it's funny because when Suicide Machine Co. put those on a Road Glide in 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
it was like.
I mean, I know LEDs are bright, but good God, those are day killers, man.
Yeah, they're insane. Yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy the way they look, but I've never really wanted to go that path personally on lighting. It just kind of I don't know. There's not much individuality to that.
Understandable. It's a look, but trust me, riding down the road and having because like when we rode down and one of Doc, Doc Nestor, and he had his on his bike in Daytona. We're all like, we don't need headlights. Doc's leading us. We're good to go. Those things are great. I mean, riding the back roads here in Texas, I mean, having one of those lights on my bike would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or just because, I mean, down here would be great, but also then you're dodging all the giant bugs because you should see my
drawing them all because you can see it from down the highway.
Yeah. I mean, coming back from Dallas or coming back from Houston on Saturday night after the block party down there. Yeah, it was definitely a bug city. Coming. The front of the bike definitely needs a clean. She's
not
bugged up.
Forward to that. on the Dyna down there, it's not that
springtime.
bad.
Woo.
Yeah, on the Dyna, it's not that bad, but man, on the Road Glide, dude, you just catch every fucking insect that's in the air. It just comes right to the bike, man. It's And it sucks cleaning that shit.
Oh yeah, bug guts. Not It reminds me of the scene in the very first Men in Black where he's driving he's trying to clean him off the windshield and he can't. Yeah, imagine that's my glasses. So trying to clean my glasses.
So, where do you see where do you want to take your stuff? Like you talked about the photo book and things like that. Like where you wanting to kind of navigate your photography, what you put out there, with all the things changing, like you said on Instagram and shit like that.
Me personally,
or are you trying to focus more working with brands?
Working with brands is fun because it gives you not just. Okay, here we go. Working with brands that actually want to do something, out of the box, is what excites me. Mm-hmm. That's what I love to do because doing the same old, it gets monotonous.
Yeah,
put something on the bike, whatever. But people that wants to take a chance, and that's what I love working with, is people that want to take a chance and want to do something different. If we try something and it flops, it flopped. Let's try something new.
Yeah.
But if it tries something and it takes off, that's awesome. And that's something that I love doing because I can't wait to actually, when these couple photos I did for Psychosaurus and Torque, hopefully when these come out, I did them different than a normal photo shoot. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I'm trying to do differently is this showing guys how I don't like the normal guy behind the bike sitting this is the bike I built. Mm-hmm. I want to tell a story with that bike, but do something just bonkers. When you get to the final page and you see the builder, he's doing something weird.
Yeah.
Just something fun out of the box, but it still goes with the story of the bike. But it's just having fun. Like I said, we talked earlier. Hopefully there's a calendar idea I'm working on with female riders that I would love to do. That's slightly a call out. I'll have something here soon. Hopefully I'll be able to post out that I'm going to be doing a nationwide call out for actual female riders. That badass chicks that build bikes, ride bikes, and just lives bikes that want to do a photo shoot, wants to do a calendar with me.
We're gonna a lot of lowrider S's in there.
Oh, I mean, I don't care, man. It does as long as the bike is cool and the chick wants to do something awesome. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I understand. Yeah, if you're offended, I hate using that word. I mean, I'm an old school chicks. That's just it's. I feel. I mean, Sassy's a friend of mine, and I feel that. I mean, I'm wearing one of her. I love her t-shirts.
Yeah.
It's in the back, banging gears, and your mom. I mean, she's a chick that comes.
Is that what
up,
yours said?
Yeah, that's what it comes in the back, dude. I mean, come on. This is the shirt. She came up, and initially it was banging gears and your dad.
Yeah.
And then she made it for the guys.
Oh, yeah.
So her whole clothing line is all chick stuff. Uh-huh. It's all about the female riders, but she throws the guys up. She throws the bone every now and then. Mm-hmm. But she makes these rad ass freaking shirts, stuff like that. Sassy's an awesome freaking person, and I feel that's the person. That's the mentality that these female riders have. Is you're not. Yes, there's the women out there that just don't mind being the person on the back and riding. Yeah. But we're open for everybody. Mm-hmm. The industry's for everybody. Be a rider, build your own bikes, do what you want. Or just be the one that rides in the back. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But we're open to everything, and I feel that, like I said, it's do whatever you want in your life. Just don't cram it down my throat.
Yeah.
If you're not hurting me, not hurting anybody else, you're perfect.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. So all these people are like, "Oh, only place a chick belongs is on the back of a bike." Dude, I mean,
most of our generation or demographic of bikers, we don't think that way. But we still, we like wet t-shirt contests and shit like that. So
why not? It's the human form. It's still one sexy ass piece of fucking work. I don't care who it is. Well, I mean, I've seen some big guys, but still, if they can flaunt it, man. There's some great. I mean, I'm not us saying ourselves. We can flaunt this ourselves, and I know
what you mean. No, what she's doing is pretty rad. It's awesome seeing her, knowing her for a while now. Or I've known of her for a long time, but I met her dude Charlie a long time ago. He was on the podcast, and then she was on the podcast over in December talking about her brand and what she's doing, and she's actually gone full time with it, which is rad.
Yep. And
the amount of work she's put in to build that, it's awesome. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's tough, man. Like this. The industry can be tough depending on what you're doing, especially, she's in a very big growing market with women riders.
Yes.
Right? It's huge.
Yes.
And the women demographic, whether it's through the Litas or something like that, they've had their growing pains over the last couple of years with like, they're kind of going through the same kind of things that all the other men have gone through too in growing in these things. It's just that we've been doing it for a lot longer.
Yes.
Not that there was not badass women riding a long time ago as well.
Yes, extremely.
But as like organized women riding and like, it's all kind of new and honestly revealing to even guys like me who wasn't around for the initiation or the beginning times of some of these like riding groups and these different types of demographics coming into Harley Davidson and things like that. So I don't know. I'm interested. She's got a camp out coming up that's going to be rad.
I'm there. I already got I got my spot. I will be there. It's going to be a fun one. That's definitely going to be way up there in Ohio. Hopefully, please stay dry. I don't feel like getting rained out in Ohio.
We got rained out last year in Ohio.
But that's like I said. The amount of people the awesome people that I've met, the Daytona and everywhere else is riding. It's been fun.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things that I hope we can keep the industry going in a positive direction. Not something set back, and it's not being woke or politically correct or something like that, because we are definitely not like that. I mean, you have them, but the same thing, I don't think, as to keep our core of what being a biker is or being a rider is, it's living to ride. It's the open road. Like I said, my favorite thing in life is an open road and a full tank of gas. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite thing in life right now. And that's what I feel is that's the attitude. The whole everything else behind it. This doesn't need to be there. Of course, that's probably I might be being cynical, or I've seen rose-colored glasses of how I think that we should be. But I feel that's how we need to be. Go back to the old live the ride. Yeah, ride the live. That's literally what the whole thing was based on.
Yeah, the more people the more that people are riding, the less that they're feelings.
Yes. So. Yeah. Because and that's If you feel, I feel better being on, out rolling around. If I feel crappy, I go on my bike and ride. Yeah, because I feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
But we'll see how everyone else keeps going with it. So as long as
you went to Daytona this year and then Arizona Bike Week.
Yep.
So what were some of the differences that you noticed between the two rallies? And I've heard that Arizona Bike Week's trying to do a resurgence because their shit kind of fell off pretty heavy.
Yeah, I think they didn't have it for 2 years.
Yeah, but even before that, it wasn't really worth going to.
With Daytona's kind of cool because you have like all the shows at Broken Spoke, and then of course we had their destination, everything. Mm-hmm. The only thing about Daytona is the distance on certain things. Like there was one time I had to go from destination Broken Spoke all the way down to Space Coast Harley Davidson, an hour and 15-minute ride, and I was doing like. Coming back, I do like 120 on my bike. When you're maxing out the speedometer on your bike and you're just hauling, whizzing in out of traffic. And I remember one of our guys was driving the truck back from Space Coast with a trailer with all of our stuff with throttle therapy. Yeah. And he said, he's like, man, I looked at the mirror and all I saw was this light bouncing. And also next thing I know, I hear this bang, and you go whizzing by me. And that was all it was. Like I just saw him. Like I didn't even know he was even there. I just went hauling butt because I had to go from one place to another. Daytona is definitely. This is what I said. This is my first time ever going to Daytona for Bike Week. Mm-hmm. And Main Street is crazy. Day and night, it is just wall to wall bikes and people, and it's cool because you have all the bars and all the other things out there. But it's one of those things that like I don't do well with crowds. Yeah. From my military experience. I have a spatial awareness problem, so I can handle it for a while. But when you're there for 2 weeks, I think I was there. Yeah, I was there for a long time. I got the first and didn't leave
Rallies
until
like Vegas, like 3 days. Get the fuck out.
Ooh, of there. Yeah. When you're there for 2 weeks straight, every day when you're pre-rallying, rallying, and post-rallying, it's fucking woo. Thank God I don't drink. Yeah. But man, liver would be screaming on that one. But it's cool. It's definitely, if you're a biker, it's one of those things that you don't have to do it, but it's a cool thing to go check out. Mm-hmm. A lot of cool people, a lot of cool bikes everywhere. Yeah. Just be at the Broken Spoke with the different shows I was there for, and then just meeting everybody all over the place. It's cool. Arizona, I was there from like I said, I got there the first. Yeah, I got there the first, and then so I was there before the actual Arizona biking starts. So I was up in Cave Creek, which is north where it's the small little town, and you got the bars up there, and that's pretty cool to see up there because you got some. But even then, things are spaced out. So you have Cave Creek, and then there was stuff all the way down at like JMP Cycles and Westworld, and so you're kind of split out.
Then Rockford, I guess, was doing something too with V-Twin Visionary.
We had the pre-party with V-Twin Visionary because I do stuff with Jeff too. So we were at Dixon Flannel for the like pre-party. I guess basically to describe. We had like a cookout there, hanging out, pretty cool. Cruise Original guys did a little stunt show on the side road, which was pretty fun. And then we also had Jeff had the actual V-Twin Visionary show that Saturday with Rockford Fosgate at their actual facility, which was really cool. It was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of bikes. It was pretty cool. That was a crazy day for me because I literally started at like 8 in the morning and went to like 7 p.m. I had like 5. So I was like, I'm here for 2.5 hours and I have to go to another place. They're here for another 2.5 hours. And I had one of my friends that saw me. He's like, are you cloning yourself? Because like, it was funny. Like I saw him at one spot. I was like, hey man, how's it going? And then he left to go to another spot, and I like beat him to the next spot. So I'm like already there, and he's like, "How did you get here before I did?" I was just all over that place. The best way that I describe Arizona is Cave Creek is a chill vibe. It's like it's just a chill vibe because you have the Roadhouse, the Hideaway, all the stuff that's up there, and then the actual down at Westworld is more of like a block party. Yeah, because everything is in the fenced-in area. You have everything's in rows, all the dealers and stuff like that, and then the concerts that were in the building. I didn't go to the concerts again because this is one of those things I was exhausted at every day at the end. So I was like, all right, and then I allowed being in there. I've heard the concerts were amazing. That Rob Zombie killed it, and Leonard Skinner and all those guys. Everything was great. I just personally didn't go because there's too many crowds for me and just too loud. I was just like, I was exhausted. I was like, I passed out like every day at like 9 o'clock. I was done. I was like, I'm done because this is working my ass off. But I saw some guys. Yeah, I know I met a lot of people in Arizona. Met a lot of people in Daytona. It's fun. I just love meeting people. Yeah, and talking with people and hear their stories and hearing their experiences on bikes and the cool things that they get to do too. And then just making awesome photos. I mean, there's a lot of times I see people, I'm riding past somebody and I get to pull up a camera and take some really cool shots. May never meet the person again ever. Hopefully they see my stuff at some point and be like, hey, that was me. I would love to, if you see my stuff or you saw me at some point and you're like, and I went whizzing by you, I had a camera up. Maybe I got a shot of you. I don't know. Or I just ran into somewhere. Get a hold of me, and I'll go through my stuff, and maybe I have a photo of your bike, or I have a photo of you guys together somewhere. Who knows? It happens. Yeah. And I just love doing them, getting people's photos, and yeah, we're not going to really do it for free, but still at the same time, I just love doing photos for people. I love making photos because not every time that that you're going to get a photo of yourself riding your own bike. And
yeah, trust me.
and I feel that they had photographers when you came in the Westworld. They had photographers, which are kind of cool.
I got 2 of those pictures on my big wheels.
But personally, I feel the better ones are like during Sturgis when the guys are in the canyons. Yeah. Getting pictures you can whizzing through the canyons. Those guys are cool, but I would do more of I would do more of a drag shutter art style. But of course, they're in a corner for 5-6 hours panning. Yeah, there's all day long. Be able to drag that background at all to get everybody at the same time. I understand they're doing bulk compared to the individual ones, but still, it's still cool that
it's even though to get a picture of you riding your bike somewhere.
Extremely, yes, because it's
like a parking lot behind you or something.
Yes, and I feel that's the one thing. I hear a lot all the time. Hey man, can you ever get a shot of me rolling on my bike or riding on my bike? I'm like, yeah, if I'm around you, I'll see what I can do. Because I feel like everybody should at least get a photo of themselves on their bike. Yeah. Riding, not just pose, sit down in the parking lot somewhere, but actually riding. Because that's what you do. Yeah. It's cool. I think it's cool. I
think it's cool as shit.
Yeah. I mean, the one guy I got the photograph in Arizona, the whole time, he was like, man, so so awesome. So thank you. So I was like, dude, this is more like thank you for letting me photograph your bike. And he's got to wait till you see that one come out. He did a clear, not a clear. He did like a candy orange on chrome. That makes it look like it's almost like
anodized.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Nice.
It's a cool bike. It's gonna be a cool bike when that one comes out.
Yeah, I do. I love getting the riding photos or catching someone in a badass place. Like I said, that photo behind you is just some random photographer that saw us checking out the salt flats, and he asked if he could take a photo of us. And so we said, yeah. And then he emailed me the picture, and I'm like, dude, that's fucking amazing. Because I had, in that same shot, I had a GoPro standing down there. I was using my phone to take that picture because at the time I didn't have like a big camera that I was taking around with me, or tripods and all that type of shit.
Initially, when I first looked at it, I thought I was like, oh, cool, you guys got that shit going on the salt flat, because I was looking at the front of it. But I look at the back, I'm like, the salt flat's flooded. That's bugs. Like, you guys were murdering some bugs there.
Yeah, it was gnarly because we stayed in Wendover there, the town right over, and we had came from Salt Lake that night before, and the bugs were fucking gnarly.
Oh, man.
150 miles just getting pelted. Those are with the bikes kind of sprayed down.
Wow.
And they're still covered in bugs.
See, that's gonna suck, because next month is gonna be BRL in Utah, and I'm going up there to go do the photo. I'm going over there to get photos for that. But I'm flying in because my truck. I hit a deer on the way to Arizona.
Ooh, shit!
Hit a little fawn outside. I was still in Texas and hit a little fawn. And the funny thing is, I actually hit the fawn, and the fawn hit the spot on my truck, in the exact same spot I hit a fawn like 10 years before, in the exact same spot, but I didn't get it fixed because it wasn't that bad of a deal. And now the lights are kind of like a little like cross-eyed or like messed up a little bit. So we made it back there to Arizona and back with it. But it's like, I definitely need to, like this. It's my workhorse. I mean, if I do more than my idea is if I'm going more than 1,000 miles, I gotta be on my truck because I'm bringing camera gear. I gotta have camping gear, and I would love to ride. Which at some point I'm gonna do some longer rides and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that but I'm not going to go work.
Yeah.
I'm going just for myself to do a longer ride. So for like a longer ride, like for Arizona, I would have definitely rode at some point. I will do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'm not, I don't have like my lights, my my reflectors and battery chargers and all the things I need for everything while I'm working. The cooler, food, all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I was going just to go myself, it would be stripped down, pair of pants, couple shirts, couple underwear, maybe maybe one camera, a battery, and maybe my 35 millimeter, maybe.
Yeah.
But at the time, when I travel like that, it's stripped down. Like I'm bare bones, stripped down to the max.
That's why I ride the bagger across the country, because when we do our trips, I have to take my camera and sometimes my podcast, my travel kit, and I have two small flashes, off-camera flashes I take for certain things. But I'm creating, when I go on trips, like all my sponsors, I'm getting the photographs of their products on my bike or some of the experiences.
And that's the thing is like, just at some point, will I get a bagger? Probably, yeah. There's things with the bike I have now where I'm looking at doing removable saddlebags. For I can put like camping gear in one bag, some of my photo gear in the other bags.
A sissy bar goes a long way though.
But like I said, but also that my buddy that made my 40-liter bag, that is cool because it's actually designed to float to the bottom of the ocean. This thing is a pure dry bag. Damn. It has a purge valve on the side. When you zip that thing shut, it is shut.
Yeah,
it's designed for Navy SEALs to think to the bottom of the ocean and then blow it back up. And we actually have pictures of us like floating on like rapids, like using the bags as like flotation devices. He just came up with a 65-liter. So I'm gonna get that one, and go a little bit bigger. But the biggest thing is I want to get some of the EF18s from Biltwell. I love how Biltwell does their numbers because it's not like liter sizes. It's like how many beers you can fit in that bag. That's how they do their numbers. You know that, right?
Yeah, I think I didn't.
Yeah, it's not liter sizes like the saddlebags that they have the 18s and the 32s. It's because you can fit 18 beers. Or 32 beers in that bag. That's how they do the numbers.
Yeah.
It's about beer size. How many 12-ounce cans can you fit in a case? 18. That's how big the bag is. Go. It's just, I think it's hilarious. It's just hilarious that 18 cans fit that thing. Well, that's an awesome way to design it.
It's a good good sales thing.
Yeah, extremely. Sure. But like there's a couple where I want to do some like saddlebags, but I like the stripped down version. The biggest thing on my bike, the last two main things that I just ordered the one. I finally ordered. It's a 7 3/4 inch light bucket. Takes a 7-inch LED, so brighter light, so I can get a brighter light. And the next thing is the seat. I want to really. I got custom. I want to do a custom made like a distressed popper jacket brown. I'm doing like a 50s theme on my bike, but once I get like a better seat, I can do some longer. I want to do a couple granders. Do some granders and stuff like that. Do some long runs. But like I said, going back to having the camera gear, I'm trying to. We're gearheads. I know we're both gearheads. We love gear. And my thing is, I constantly try to figure out the big lights compared to. I have a friend of mine that he works at one of our local shops out in Austin, and he's talking about some of these LED hot lights. So that I have a strobe, it's a hot light, and they look better, if not. They look as just as good, if not better, than actually having a small strobe, an actual strobe. So it's trying to figure out how to get lighter, how to get cheaper, not cheaper, because I will pay a premium for good equipment, for good stuff. But it's like I said, but it's trying to find that way I can do more production work on a smaller footprint on my bike.
It's a challenge, and it becomes fun to do that.
Yeah. But like I said, at the same time, I don't mind doing long hauls in the truck and stuff like that. But at the same time, it would be kind of cool. I would like to do runs. But of course, the same thing is 5.5 hours in any direction before I even hit a border in Texas. But
especially where you're at.
Because I'm Central Texas. I'm damn central. Because the only time that my bike's literally ever been out of its state on its own power was Separate American Party in October. That's the only time it's ever been out of the state in its own power. But like I said, she's been to she's been to Sturgis twice and now Arizona, and that's it. But she's got. I'm literally almost probably coming back from this. Maybe coming back from this couple days up here in Dallas. I'll be over 30,000 miles in less than 2 years.
Whew, that's good.
Well, I mean, I love to ride. It's just the way to do it. So. Just ride as much as I can. That's what I love doing,
man. Just getting out there and riding the bike and shit like that. Do you do a lot of riding around like Austin and that stuff?
Yeah.
Daily?
Extremely. Like I said, if it's above 60 and not raining, I ride. I ride almost every day if I could.
Nice.
A lot of times I do. It's just if I'm bored, I'll just jump on the bike. I'll go do 400 or 500 miles in a day. Heck, I rode from my place all the way up to the Stockyards in Fort Worth just to go get a steak one time and rode all the way home. I've done one. Saturday I rode all the way down to Houston to do the block party and then rode all the way home. I would have done a 1-day trip back and up here, but I was like, I haven't seen anybody up in Dallas for a while, so I figured I'll come up here and hang out. I know there's a bike night tomorrow. Supposed to be one on Thursday, I think, like that. So I'll come up here and do some stuff like that. So we got a weird knocking sound downstairs. Hang on, people. I don't know what's going on. We're good? Sorry, I had to do that. I was going to take a couple of things off the screen here. I was kicking a little HTX Black Party. That Trey.
It's Torqued Up Trey.
Torqued Up Trey.
Yeah.
Coleslaw wrestling at the Cabbage Patch will change a young man's life. Yes, I did not make. I was not there for it. I knew some people that were part of that.
Yeah.
But that was not on my schedule for Daytona. I've heard crazy things about it. Would have loved to have been there for that one though. Unskilled paint jobs.
I said about chopper paint jobs.
Oh, okay. Yes, Nick, go and follow me. I don't do paintings. I just do painting with light. That's what we also call photographers, light painters. Go and then rely on the engagement. They start. Yes, Steven, about the whole Facebook did it first too. That you grow your business, then they rely on the engagement. They start changing. Yes, it's moving the stupid goalposts. Adam, what's up, buddy? Look fly. I try to look fly as much as I can. You know me. Can we scroll up and see some of the other ones? If people are, if you get people, can we tell who's still watching live? How many lives we got going? 26. If you guys, we're kind of in a pause, but if you guys want to throw questions up there, go ahead.
Yeah. While you do that, I'm gonna go piss.
Okay, go ahead. We'll call it some of this.
Here.
Yeah, give me that mouse. Let's go through some questions. Ruben, if you're still on here, yes, I'm meeting you. Remind me again where we met if you're still on it. Remind me again where we met in Arizona. Like I said, I meet so many people in these things. It's kind of hard. Steven Nyman Sheboygan. Ooh, wow. That's a crazy place. Haven't been to Sheboygan in a long time. I'm hoping to be up there in Wisconsin next month. My kids live up there with their mom, but also got races in Elkhart Lake. So hopefully I'll be able to get up there and go go photograph the races at Road America. Some places up. I love Road America. Well, would love to just do some riding in Wisconsin with my new bike. I haven't been up there. Like I said, I haven't ridden Wisconsin since 2001 was the last time I rode Wisconsin. Anybody else? Come on, guys. I know you're out there. Throw some live questions up, please. Two-lane cowboy. I-10 from Houston to the Keys is so damn boring. Never again. Yes, I-10 is definitely a boring ride, especially the bridges across Louisiana. I-10 going the other direction towards Cali. That's even worse. The Highway 9 crossing the border was actually pretty crazy. It was pretty cool to see the old two-lane roads way down there in the border towns. Ooh, Full Throttle Hog. Dude, I cannot wait to see you, buddy. I hope we will make the Stubborn American Party. I will not be there for Fast Life Camp Out. I have to be in Nashville for an Army reunion of my unit. It's our 20-year reunion, so I will not be at the Fast Life Camp Out. Sorry, guys. I am trying to make the Stubborn American Party, though, for Key River, if anybody wants to come up for that one. See, C. Baker, the podcast is the reason I'm going to the camp out just to meet everyone. Are you going to do a podcast up there?
No, absolutely.
No, absolutely not. Just no time for one during the camp out.
No, because it's not the time and place.
Okay,
you know what I mean.
Well, I think well, not time and place, but I think this is a small impromptu live one because you'd have the crowd, but the same part it get a little rowdy. I think. I've been to a couple where we've done some with Matt Best and those guys over, Black Rifle Coffee in Vegas and stuff for SHOT Show. It does get a little rowdy, but I think it would be
hard to focus a conversation when you have so much going on and so many people around.
That's true.
It'd be different if it was this was live and there was an audience over there watching us do this, in person. But you got people going on, there's conversations, it's picking up a lot of
a lot of static and stuff like that.
It'd
be kind of crazy. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people put anything. Wait, don't get it. Easy tips for a guy with an iPhone that wants to take decent photos for IG. Thanks, man. Zachary. Okay. Well, if you're doing it for IG, it's not that bad. The with the Instagram, the best thing I can tell you for Instagram is their editing software or the filters they have are junk, as the way I feel.
Yeah.
They're okay, but use your actual camera on your phone to take your shots and then get Lightroom Mobile, because just the editing part of that alone is really good because you're able to edit it like photo. But I also feel that some of the presets that are in they're filter. It's a preset, so it changes the photo, but it's like a filter.
Yeah,
it's just a presetting, but it's a filter. And I think, because you still able to manipulate it, where if you use a filter in Lightroom, you can't really manipulate it. But some of the pre-filters that are in Lightroom Mobile are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. They're really cool, and it's able to push the photo to the way you want it, and then push it past to make it even better, which is really good. But it's having that control over your photo.
Yeah, and
like I said, iPhone has a very good software for taking photos. That's why I said it's very user friendly, very easy to use, which I think is good. But like I said, you have to learn light and positioning and learning angles. One thing that I've been learning is everybody takes a photo like this. Mm-hmm. So you lose all of this and you lose all of this.
Yeah.
So I actually found out from a couple other guys, I started taking photos like this. So if you're lower to the ground and have your bike or whatever and you get the angle, you're able to get more top. Because if you take a photo, most of the time you cut the top off, cut the cloud off, but they have all this extra room in the bottom. But then if you actually flip it upside down, you're able to reverse it. So you actually get more sky to make it more appealing. So but also the same thing. I haven't seen the new ones, but I know on mine, on top up here, where basically has the aspect ratios.
Yeah.
That is the best way to do it. Because I'll take 1 and 9/16. So that's for 9/16 is your stories.
Yeah.
And your reels, and then the 1:1 is your actual photo.
Yeah.
That's the one for your post. So doing, I like it like for normal photos. I'll keep it in the full, so it's my full screen. So just because that's how I use it, because I can crop it to 9/16. But if I want to do an actual post photo, I'll use the 1:1. So actually knowing how you can change your photo
use
styles,
all the options.
use all the options on there. And just, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that show tips and tricks on YouTube,
YouTube
all the time.
Thick with that
stuff. Like I said, but just knowing what you want to, I mean, just finding just learning everything, learning the light.
I mean, for sure, I'd always tell people, like, if you go onto YouTube, you can find a lot of tutorials to use those features on your phone.
Yes.
But the other thing that you should practice is, like you were saying about turning it upside down, finding perspectives that are interesting, right? Usually, when people that walk around and just take a picture from eye level all the time, you're not showing anybody a different perspective of the what you're trying to portray in the image. So, getting down low, getting up high.
Learning composition is is one of the best things that anybody can do for a photo. Learning composition, not just stand here right in the middle. Look fine. Angles, compositions, knowing light and stuff like that. That's what anybody can do with a photo. It's just learning that stuff. Any of the crew going to Spring Fling in Eureka Springs at the end of April?
Not my crew.
Not. I'm not going anywhere end of April. Like I said, I got to turn my truck in end of next week. I have to turn my truck in next week, and then I'm going in to hopefully finish my the start of my leg tattoo. I got started my Valkyrie on my right calf.
Nice.
So my whole right leg will be all Viking. I got my Valkyrie. She's outline done. I go in. I think that Friday. Next Friday, I go in to have all the coloring done and shading and stuff like that. Hopefully, get that, and then the rest. Then I have to figure out who I'm going to go for the rest of my leg, because I want to get a couple artists and do all Viking for my right leg. So,
man, I stopped getting tattoos when I started having to pay for them. I used to hang out in tattoo shops, and I used to tattoo a little bit. So I used to do, I don't know. I want to get more tattoos, but nothing's been interesting enough for me to start another project.
Yeah,
and all the shit I have is like a couple good ones for the time they were done, and then a bunch of shitty ones for the time they were done, and I don't know.
It's weird. Okay, so for me in tattoos, it's kind of crazy, because tattoos for me is actually almost like a therapy session. My tattoo artist Amy and Colleen can attest to me falling asleep on the table.
Nice.
On the arm, like on my my whole right arm. She did my whole right arm. It's a cover up. A full sleeve, and then a portrait at the same time. And there's times I'm zonked out. I'm like, hey, when she was just doing the outline on my calf, there's parts I was like almost completely out. And she's like, you okay? I'm like, I'm good. But I can't wait to go back in and get because it's I don't know, maybe I'm somewhat of a masochist or this pain or whatever, but it's very it's calming for me. I mean. I don't know what it is. Some people, like I said, they love tattoos, but they hate the pain. I enjoy them. They're like I said, relaxing for me. It's a good couple hours where I get to zone out and just relax. It's the same thing on my bike. I get the same thing from my bike. I don't know what it is. It's really weird for me. That's why I can't do the leg, because it's gonna be a little sections where I can just lay for a while. Maybe get catch a couple Z's while I'm
I
laying there.
think the last tattoo I had was 2011.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so 12. It was 12. It's been a while. I just haven't had I don't know. I don't regret any of them.
No.
But at the same time, it's just I was really heavy into the whole art culture at the time in 2006 till 12, even tattooed for a little bit, did a lot of fine art. And so I was kind of a part of that world heavily, and then just kind of lost interest in it all,
Yeah.
And, tattoos got really good at that time too, and they also skyrocketed in price. And I'm like, well, fuck, man, I can't spend $1,000 on outline.
Well, I mean, really, if I think of my arm and how much it took 5 years and 47 hours actually in the chair for this arm, and we're talking one and a quarter per hour, roughly.
It's a grip. It's a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean,
a nice one.
I know, but that's also a lot of time I was able to get out of my head, because a lot of this was right after my divorce too. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it was I'm gonna say that probably just somewhat of a masochist, but it's one of those things that this got me through a lot of this. Being able to get in there.
I like to use alcohol.
That's another reason why I stopped drinking. That's the reason why I don't drink. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very. I always say people are like, "Oh, you don't drink?" I said, "I drink." Look at this way. I'm not sober. I'm not. Yeah. I do drink every now and then. It's very, very sparingly. It's just because I don't like having the pace. Like I don't feel like paying $7 for a bottle of beer at a rally. Mm-hmm. Or I heard enough already. I already heard enough from being in the military. I don't want to wake up with a hangover on top of that pain I have to deal with anyways. Waking up. Yeah. So if I'm gonna drink, I might have a double bourbon and Coke in a tall glass at home, like once every. A great while. Yeah. Or maybe, I'll go out to dinner with somebody and maybe have a cocktail. Or, I mean, I went out one day back in February with my buddy Howie from Law Tigers, and I had an old fashioned with him. Just because I was like, well, we're here. We're going to be here for a couple hours. I'll have one. I just only drinking when I'm on the bike. I don't like drinking when I have cameras out, because things can happen with cameras and alcohol. And speaking from experience. But late.
So we're gonna people are gonna be able to find you at the next event you're gonna be at.
Oh goodness,
shooting photos and running around.
Let's see. Well, things have had to change. Let me check my calendar right here. Things are changing a little bit because of transportation wise.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here I'll be here in Dallas until I'm thinking Friday morning. Mm-hmm. So I know if you're listening to this live, or you hear this next whatever, I know there's the bike night tomorrow, and there's supposed to be one on Thursday, I think, too. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably be I'll be at those two bike nights. I know for a fact around here. But big wise, the next thing, what I said, I was going to try to do the camp out, but the camp out's not going to happen because I have to go to Nashville. So Myrtle Beach, I don't foresee happening, or Tennessee Motorcycle Revival. So unless you're in Utah for BRL, the 13th or 14th of May, the next probably would be Little River. Little River Races of Honor. In Little River, Texas. The drag races down there on the 21st and 22nd of May. I'll be at that one. If not, we'll be Rot Rally in June. Ooh. I'll definitely be in the Rot Rally. And then the Promised Land Jam happening at the end of June. That one.
Isn't that like West Virginia or something?
Yeah,
like that?
there's still little secret things here or there, but I think Joe, I think Stas put something out, the video today. I just haven't got a chance to watch it. But besides that, I'll be at the camp outs, the camp out at the Quarry in Ohio in July, and then Sturgis in August. Yeah, it's the big stuff coming up.
That's still a pretty packed schedule. So
yeah, it's still. There's, like I said, it's. I'm trying to do at least I'm trying to get one major rally a month is like the main thing. There's little campouts here and there and stuff like that, but of course, like the main ones are Daytona, Arizona, Sturgis. I haven't looked at it. I can't remember when Laconia is.
It's June.
Is it in June? Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe not that one. Like I said, Sturgis, and then Lone Star. The big ones that everybody knows. Those are the ones I'm always trying to get to. The big ones. But I mean, if there's like a small little one that's not that far away that somebody knows about, that would, hey, throw this on the calendar. If it's within a range and it's not butting up against something else that I don't have to be at, I would love to come out and check out the little cool small things, small bike nights. And my thing is it's just keeping the scene, we're gonna call it the scene going. I mean, if people are doing rad stuff somewhere, be it, I mean, a dirt track event or motocross. I mean, anything. I photographed the 3 Bs. Easiest way to describe it. Photograph the 3 Bs: bullets, bikes, and boobs. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Easiest way to do it. So if you got something that's got a motor and it's doing something cool, and it's within a certain distance, if we can figure something out, heck, let's do it. I'm game. Let's have some fun.
Well, cool. So people can find you at your Instagram. Is that your main source of like people finding you?
Yeah, my main my main source is at Schultz SCHULTZ photography _. That's my main, like that's where 90% of everything goes up.
Yeah.
Then of course you have my website www.schultz-photography.com. That's a whole other rigmarole. Why there's a stupid dash there. That's if you want to. I mean, you can drop me a DM. You can send me an email through my website. I'm on Facebook too. Facebook Schultz Photography 1. I'm on Twitter, Schultz Photo _. I have a YouTube, but I don't I've got like 1 minute videos on there. It's one of those things that like I've thought about doing some YouTube stuff.
Yeah. At
some point I would like to do maybe testing evaluations on equipment.
Yeah.
Parts and stuff like that for bikes. It's just another thing. When it comes to doing stuff like that, like I did in the weapons industry, I believe if my name's on something, I believe in it.
Yeah.
It's I don't sugarcoat anything like that. I mean, but I'm also the type of guy that I'm going to beat the crap out of something. Because if my name's going to be on it, it better be a good piece of equipment.
It's got to,
because it's going to have my life on it or somebody else's life on it. So I'm going to, whatever it is. But I'm cool with trying. If somebody's got something that's crazy that wants to try to get somebody's opinion, I'm more than game to try it out. I mean, I would love to do videos at some point where we're doing tests or we're doing reviews on something.
Yeah.
But I don't like, I did 100 miles. No. I want to do like 1,000 miles with that thing.
Yeah.
I want to do long-term testing until it breaks or we find a way to, either we break it or we find a way to break it. Because I want to find a failure point. We got to find a failure point.
Yeah.
So these guys that do, which they're still doing a service, but I feel it's not the correct service. If you're having, I rode 100 miles with this thing, that's not really, that's a break-in, dude. You're barely even touching the surface. So I'm game for anything, really. I mean, there's limitations here. There's limitations, I mean, on how crazy I will actually go. Yeah. But I feel that I've got experience that we all have for certain things. I've got time to do things, and if it's creating a way of keeping the industry going. Is how I feel. Is if I can do something to keep it going, to hopefully help out a company or at least spark an interest for somebody else. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, you're putting something back on the table for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. It's my way of giving back to this industry, not just taking from it. It's my way of going, here's my way of saying this is how I'm going to help everybody else out.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, be it photos, be it videos, be it testing something.
Yeah.
I'm game to do.
That's cool. That's rad, man. I'm glad that you're doing that. That's the more people doing this type of stuff, the better, because there's always going to be different opinions and views and different ways people use products.
Yes. And
so someone might identify more with the way that you go about writing and using these products, and being a photographer might be a thing too, A lot more people doing that nowadays. You might even see more companies start to kind of lean into that and create products that people can use on bikes that also will help with gear.
And I feel that like if a company comes up with something, with a piece of product, and they have this is what it can do, and people write a review about it, there's so many things now that you can never really tell if the review is real or not. But if somebody posts a video about it of them actually using the product, it's a little bit more, I feel a little bit more tangible. But it's also, like I said, it's just getting that information out. I think is the biggest thing, is getting it out there and then you have these, like I said, that's just how a company needs to, is get the information out, actually take somebody that actually prides themselves in doing something, and actually that's how it grows. That's how we're going to grow as an industry.
For sure.
Is doing that.
Cool, man. I appreciate you doing this, dude.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'd love this, dude.
Awesome.
Anytime.
like I said, Schultz Photography on Instagram. You could probably just go right to your website through there.
Yep.
Check everything out.
Everything's all there. All the digits